Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Naruto. The Age of Ninja Swordsmen begins from the Hidden Cloud Village. Chapter 81. Bagua, Kongbi Zhang. The three Hyunin joined forces to use the 8 trigrams air palm, forming a hollow wall palm and blasting it towards the third Raikage, causing him to stagnate. They are members of the branch who are completely loyal to the clan leader, and they have passed on some of the clan's secrets, and this Bagua Kongzong is one of them. The power of the Kongbi palm used by the three of them increased threefold. Even with the strength of the third Raikage, they were stopped for a moment. Bagua Kongzong. At the same time, Hinata Hazashi in the air also used Bagua Kongzong to create an air shock wave to resist the incoming kunai. Then he didn't dare to stop, ignoring the swelling and pain in his meridians, and fired 3 Bagua air palms one after another for all-round defense. These kunai have blessed the changes in the nature of chakra. If you really want to be shot, you will definitely be shot down with the Black Wings ability. There is a thunder shadow from Hidden Cloud Village below. If they really fall down, they will definitely die. They will not be able to resist against such a strong person. Black thunder and lightning flashed on the body of the third Raikage below, and he rushed out and knocked each of the 3 Hunins unconscious with a hand knife. He looked up at the Black Hawk flying high in the sky and the 2 people in its claws. This is the gap between Jonin and Kage, especially the third Raikage, who is extremely powerful among many Kage, and can almost kill Jonin instantly. Especially after learning the light and heavy rock technique, the speed increased sharply and the combat power also increased to a higher level. It's a pity that I haven't learned the art of super light and heavy rock yet. Seeing the 2 people being carried high into the sky, the third Raikage felt regretful. He has been studying since he obtained the secret ninja, and has initially mastered the light and heavy rock technique, which can greatly weaken the influence of gravity on himself, thereby reducing weight and increasing speed. But after all, it is only the art of light and heavy rock, not the art of super light and heavy rock that can fly against gravity, otherwise it would be able to gain the ability to fly. But it's not bad. After all, I got a pair of Byakugan from the Hyuga clan, which is a perfect Byakugan. Tamura Hao ignored the fighting here and immediately killed Inuzuka Jiao, who fled into the woods nearby. He couldn't defeat the 5 Hyuga ninjas, but this ninja from the Inuzuka family was no problem. The most important thing is to practice against the opponent. He needs to experience this kind of life and death battle. Moreover, with the 3rd generation of Raikage watching from the side, there will be no problem. How can we miss such a good opportunity to fight safely? Ninja of the Inuzuka family, you can't escape. Why don't you stop and fight me to the death? If you can catch me, you can threaten Lord Raikage to let you go. Tamura Hao shouted while chasing. There was no way, the opponent was too fast, especially in such a complicated forest, it was not easy to catch up with him. Finally, Inuzuka Jiao, who was fleeing in front, stopped. It was not because Tamura Hao persuaded him, but because a figure appeared in front of him. It was Fukai, who was chasing after him with a ninja sword. Although Fukai's current condition has not yet recovered, the speed of a Junin is not comparable to that of a Chunin, so it is not difficult for him to catch up and intercept him. Fukai didn't take action, just stood there quietly. He also intended to let this person fight with the students. That student will definitely have to face some enemies independently in the future, and it is beneficial to experience more fighting now while he can still take care of him. Strong men all grow up through bloody battles, without any exception, and Ahau must also follow this path. You have a high status in Union Village. Seeing that the Jonin in front had no intention of taking action, Inuzuka Jiao turned around and looked at the chasing boy, with a cold and ferocious look on his face. The Junin didn't take action. He obviously wanted to confront the young man who was chasing him. Did he want to use himself as a whetstone for the opponent? Be careful and break the knife. I have a good teacher. Tamura Hao's face hidden under the mask also had a ferocious expression. The opponent was not only his whetstone this time, but also his enemy. Naturally, he had to kill his enemies without mercy. Tooth. Without further ado, Inuzuka Jiao decisively cooperated with the ninja dog to perform Yutanya, and his body turned into 2 tornadoes and rushed over. Tetsuya is a truly complete taijutsu, twice as powerful as a simple Tetsuya. Chakra can even drive the surrounding air to form a tornado, integrating offense and defense. Tamura Hao's eyes flashed with blood. He did not retreat or dodge sideways. He quickly swung his two swords hard from the front and attacked from both sides. He definitely couldn't do it with his own strength alone, but now with the blessing of Kagaya's shadow and Little Ten Tails Sharingan, his dynamic vision has been greatly improved. He could clearly see even the current rotation speed of Yutong-ya, and could swing the sword to perform precise slashes and thrusts, and even be able to predict it to a certain extent. Although the power of Yutong-ya is powerful, its essence is very simple. It is a super speed rotation, and the rotation method is very regular. Facing this kind of offensive, as long as you have strong dynamic vision, you can defeat it. If you attack quickly enough, you can even kill it with one blow. Inuzuka Jiao and the ninja dogs cooperated to carry out a multi-directional siege around Tamura Hao, using the high-speed rotation of the Yutong-ya to continuously pass by and attack the opponent. However, he soon discovered to his dismay that the opponent's knife was too sharp, and the chakra whirlwind formed by Yutong-ya could not be completely resisted. In this moment, he and the ninja dog were both in trouble. And the opponent seems to be adapting to Yutong-ya's offensive and is responding more and more calmly. Realizing that this was not going to work, Inuzuka Jiao and Ninja ended up having a tooth-to-tooth conversation as if they had a clear understanding of each other. Inuzuka Ryu human-animal hybrid transformation two-headed wolf. He raised his hand to form a seal and used the family's secret technique to fuse with the ninja dog, instantly transforming into a 4-meter-tall giant two-headed wolf, extremely ferocious and ferocious. Are you going to use that move to be super sure to kill? Tamura Hao whispered in his heart, then put the small cat into the sealing technique of the armor, inserted the big cat diagonally on the ground in front of him, and raised his hand to form a seal. The seal of the Thunder Flash technique. Although Thunderbolt Flash is only AD level ninjutsu, if it is combined with a good sword like Big Meow, its power will be considerable. Coupled with the blessing of Sharingan's dynamic vision, it will definitely not be bad. Fang Fang. Inuzuka Jiao, who was well prepared, decisively launched his killing move. In the face of this family secret technique, even a Junin had to avoid it temporarily. Tamura Hao still did not retreat. His eyes were flashing with blood, and the 3 Magatama phantoms in his pupils slowly rotated, providing powerful dynamic vision and clearly seeing the rotation trajectory of the wolf fangs. At the moment when he was about to be hit by the wolf fang, Tamura Hao used his big cat to thrust straight at him like lightning, accurately piercing the inside of the wolf fang from a weak point, and the sharp blade easily penetrated a wolf's head. Then, under the super speed rotation of the fangs, the wolf's head was automatically crushed by the blade. The two-headed wolf transformation in it is the foundation of Yulangya. Now that a wolf head has been crushed, the two-headed wolf transformation cannot be maintained naturally, and the super speed tornado formed by Yulangya has also collapsed. The ninja dog was thrown away with scars all over his body, while Inuzuka Jiao's upper body had turned into minced meat, leaving only his lower body intact. It was obvious that the wolf head he had unfortunately hit just now was his, and he died instantly. At the same time, Tamura Hao was also hit by the huge impact and flew backwards, hitting a tree hard before stopping. Fortunately, his physique was strong enough, and with the blessing of chakra and the light armor on his body, he was not injured. The ninja dog struggled to crawl to the remains of its master, whimpering. After taking a breath, Tamura Hao stepped forward, used the big cat spike in his hand to give the ninja dog a quick death, and then put the bodies of both into the sealed space for the little ten-tail to absorb and devour. He couldn't openly launch the infinite moon reading to absorb the power of the entire ninja world to improve the little ten-tail, so he could only collect corpses to improve it, the more the better. This is also thanks to the little ten-tail swallowing Samahata, which gave it the ability to refine chakra through food, and the flesh and blood of ninja beasts is the best ration. It looks a bit evil, but this is the ninja world, and compared to those big guys who do human experiments, Tamura Hao is already kind. You are invincible under the Jonin in this state. Fukai sighed. This student's growth rate is really fast, especially after obtaining Samahata. But this is an external force. I hope to improve my own strength. Tamura Hao was not carried away by the power. He knew very well what his own strength was. Only when his own strength was improved could he be truly powerful. It is important to maintain a clear cognition. Fukai was very satisfied with his student's sobriety and walked back immediately. Tamura Hao looked around and followed after making sure there was nothing wrong. When they returned to the river, they found that a bonfire had been set up. An Anbu ninja even gutted some fish by the river, obviously preparing for a big meal here. Before, they had been using Bingliong pills to fill their stomachs, which was not pleasant. Now that the third generation has arrived, they can naturally relax boldly. Only after eating and drinking enough can they travel better. Go and swallow those 3 people. The third generation Raikage signaled to Tamura Hao. After taking off the forehead protector and seeing the caged bird curse seal on the foreheads of the 3 people, he had no interest in the 3 people. Don't you take them back for research? Tamura Hao was puzzled. The bodies of the Hyuga clan were very good research materials. Do you think we haven't captured members of the Hyuga clan branch before? The third Raikage rolled his eyes. They had long seen the strategic significance of the Byakugan. They had acted secretly before and captured some Hyuga ninjas who were out on missions. It was a pity that the caged bird seal was too unsolvable. Once the caged bird seal destroyed the Byakugan and brain nerves, they would get nothing. Even the Hyuga ninjas could actively trigger the caged bird seal. It was useless for both criminal interrogation and illusion spying. As for research, everything that could be studied before had been studied. Tamura Hao suddenly realized and said nothing more. He used the seal to activate the power of the sealed space to collect the bodies of the 3 Hyuga ninjas, and then used chakra to carry consciousness to watch. The tail of the little 10-tail pierced into the bodies of the 3 and began to devour them. Soon, the 3 were devoured, including their souls. He had long speculated about the caged bird seal, and was even more certain after learning about the sealing techniques of the Uzumaki clan. The operating principle of the caged bird seal is that after the death of the Hyuga ninja, all the pupil power will be integrated into the soul, and the soul will be taken to the netherworld. Because of this, the seal on the head of the Hyuga branch ninja will disappear after death, but it will be carried after the impure world reincarnation. For example, the Hyuga Hazashi who was resurrected by the impure world reincarnation during the Fourth World War still has the caged bird seal on his forehead. That is, the seal is integrated into the soul. But today's little 10-tails can even devour souls and become nutrients for its own growth. At least the souls of these senior ninjas are not enough to resist the power of the little 10-tails. As the souls and the inner pupil power, and even the power of the caged bird seal itself, are devoured, Keigaya's phantom and the little 10-tails have changed. Keigaya's phantom's originally illusory eyes turned white, just like the Byakugan, and it is obvious that the Byakugan evolved with the help of the chakra and blood of the 3 senior Hyuga ninjas. The little 10-tails in his arms had an extra eye, also a white eye, but it was flashing green. This chakra is of such high quality. Feeling the green chakra halo, Tamura Hao was very surprised. This green chakra is extremely strong, far exceeding the existing chakra in the ninja world. Could it be related to the chakra of the Samsara Eye chakra mode of Otsutsuki Tonari? Could it be that the Hyuga clan also has a huge Samsara Eye? Tamura Hao had a bold guess, which was also the brainhole of a Naruto fan in the previous life. The core is the green chakra in the Samsara Eye chakra mode. That chakra is green, and the caged bird curse seal is also green. This should not be a coincidence. Next time, I have to let Black Zetsu look for it, and I have to kill more Hyuga ninjas on the battlefield. Tamura Hao thought of his nephew Black Zetsu. If the Hyuga clan really has a giant Samsara Eye, they will make a fortune. If the Hyuga clan really has such a treasure, Black Zetsu's ability will definitely be able to find clues. Did you get anything? The third Raikage outside saw his disciple open his eyes and asked curiously. The main purpose of handing the 3 Hyuga ninjas to the disciple was to see if he could obtain the power of the Byakugan through the devouring of Samahata. If he could really obtain the power of the Byakugan like he obtained the power of the Sharingan, it would be a win, even if it was a little weaker. Tamura Hao said nothing, and attracted the chakra of the little 10-tails and Keigaya's phantom to merge with himself. His eyes became pale and had a layer of green light. Now I only have the ability to see far, and I can see the veins of leaves 100 meters away. After sensing it, Tamura Hao gained the power of the Byakugan during the appearance stage. Like the Sharingan power obtained through this, there is only the first initial ability. The main reason is that the compatibility between one's own chakra, Keigaya's shadow and the little 10-tails is too low, and it requires a long period of running in. This is the same as those of the tailed beast Jinchuriki, who have mastered the power of the tailed beasts through years of practice. After all, it is not your own strength. It's really good. The third Raikage was greatly surprised. He didn't expect that a ninja sword could have such potential. Seriously speaking, the Samahata was more precious than the tailed beast. It's my disciple's good luck. Tamura Hao laughed and said it was all luck. After the death of a Hyuga ninja, the Byakugan will be instantly destroyed by the caged bird curse seal, and the inner pupil power will also disappear. If you want to improve the Byakugan's power, you will have to go to the battlefield in the future, and you need to improve it a lot. The third Raikage made some remarks. Originally, he was not optimistic about this disciple's ninja path. What he valued more was his wisdom, especially those novel and good ideas. As a think tank to assist his son in the future, Todai was also very optimistic about this boy. And now that Samahata is there, its potential is already high. After I have successfully mastered the sealing technique and thunder escape ninjutsu, I want to go to the Kingdom of Iron to practice the samurai's sword skills. Tamura Hao revealed his plan to study abroad in the village. His own chakra talent is destined to make it difficult to follow the chakra route. Even chakra is too difficult to use map cannon type methods. Therefore, for a long time in the future, the only thing suitable for him will be swordsmanship, and swordsmanship also has great potential. For example, Uchiha Madara Susanoo's sword skills can cut through a mountain with one strike, and he can even compete with the Senju Hashirama Buddha for a period of time. Sasuke in the future has also been using swordsmanship, using the sword as a medium to perform ninjutsu battles in order to save the consumption of chakra. Therefore, knife skills still have great potential, especially if you have a good knife. The swordsmanship of the Iron Kingdom warriors is very unique and more pure. It will be beneficial for you to learn it. The third Raikage agreed with this. It is natural that samurai warriors can continue to survive after the rise of ninjas and became the mainstream. In close combat, samurai are better than ninjas, and he has to take seriously the blade of the Iron Kingdom general. After eating and drinking, the third Raikage led a few people to the south and left the territory of the Land of Fire, and took a boat to the sea to return to the Land of Lightning. The sea was originally the territory of the Hidden Mist Village, but now the Hidden Mist Village is fighting internally and has no time to take care of the outside, so it is much safer to take the sea route. On the other side, the two Hyuga brothers returned to the Hyuga family safely, and even Hyuga Hiyashi performed a transformation technique to turn his eyes into a state of intactness, and was brought back by his younger brother without anyone noticing the abnormality. The loss of the Byakugan is a serious problem. Not only the family, but also the village will suffer losses. If the Byakugan really causes losses to the village in the war, they will bear huge pressure. Raikage. In the Hyuga clan leader Hyuga Moonmasa looked at his eldest son's bandaged eyes, and was so angry that he almost vomited blood, and gnashed his teeth with hatred. We are targeted by the Cloud Ninja, and someone must have leaked our whereabouts. Hyuga Hiyashi also gnashed his teeth with hatred. The core of the Hyuga clan is the Byakugan, and now he is almost useless without the Byakugan. Not to mention that he is still a member of the main family and the young clan leader, and the problem of losing the Byakugan is even more serious. I will have someone investigate this matter. Hyuga Moonmasa also thought so, because the goal of the third generation Raikage was too clear, and he dug out his son's eyes at once. Father, what should we do now? My brother's eyes cannot be left in the hands of the Cloud Ninja. Hyuga Hiyashi was more worried about this. Once the Cloud Village did something with the Byakugan, it would be a big problem. Hiyashi's eyes really can't be left in the hands of the Cloud Ninja. Hyuga Moonmasa thought for a while, looked at his eldest son with bandages wrapped around his eyes, and then looked at his second son beside him. After hesitating for a long time, he finally made a decision. Hiyashi, go back and rest first. Our main family has sealed some of our ancestors' eyes and will transplant them to you later. Hazashi, stay here. I have something to tell you. I'm going back. Hyuga Hiyashi breathed a sigh of relief, and formed a shadow clone to take him away. The Byakugan of their main family will not be destroyed after death like the branch family, but will be sealed. It is normal for the father to have some in stock. Although it is not his own eyes and he cannot use them freely, it is better than nothing. When there is a chance in the future, he will snatch his Byakugan back from the Cloud Ninja. Hazashi, the fact that your eldest brother's eyes were taken away cannot be concealed. The Cloud Ninja will definitely use the Byakugan on the battlefield, causing huge losses to the village. After a long silence, Hyuga Moonmasa spoke. What does father mean? Hinata Hazashi looked up at his father with a sinking heart, and had a bad feeling in his heart. Your eldest brother is the future head of the main family. He cannot make mistakes. The position of the head must be in the hands of our lineage. Hinata Munin said seriously. The family was not calm either. The main family was not only the lineage of their head, but also the elders. Those lines had coveted their lineage for a long time. Fortunately, the two sons were twins and looked exactly the same, which was enough to explain to the outside world. Hinata Hazashi fell into silence, and after a while he spoke. How will father explain to the outside world that the Cloud Ninja obtained the Byakugan? After all, he was a member of the branch family and had the caged bird curse seal. The Cloud Ninja has several legendary six-path ninja tools, and before that, he obtained the Uzumaki clan and had the power to break the caged bird curse seal. But there is no need to explain in the early stage. The Uchiha is the one who leads the battle over there. Say what you think of, although this statement will cause many problems, but now it can only be done. As for the current stage, there is no need to explain. After all, the Uchiha is in charge of that place, so it is good for the Uchiha to suffer some losses. I understand. After a long silence, Hyuga Hiyashi replied sadly, and then raised his hand to dig out his eyes, ignoring the pain of digging his eyes, untied the belt and tied it to the eyes, stood up and groped away. Although the pain in the body is unbearable, it is far less than the pain in the heart. Alas, looking at the second son leaving, and then looking at the eyes that have been destroyed by the power of the curse seal and the pupil power has been extracted, Hyuga Moonmasa sighed. He was also very painful and entangled in his heart, but the family system was like this, and he could only abide by it. Hazashi hasn't called dad for a long time, and has always called him father, which is too strange. Putting away the two eyeballs, Hyuga Moonmasa stood up and came to the family's secret place, raised his hand to make a seal to draw the pupil power of the white eyes to unlock the seal of the secret place and walk in. The heritage of their Hyuga family is sealed inside, including the Byakugan of the main family, which is the Byakugan of all the main families in the past 100 years. With the current means, it can only be sealed for 100 years. I hope Hiyashi can control this pair of eyes. Walking to the pair of Byakugan placed alone, Hyuga Moonmasa has high hopes for his eldest son. The Byakugan of their Hyuga family is different, mainly depending on the purity, and this pair of Byakugan is extremely pure, and the pupil power is also stronger than other Byakugan. These are the eyes of his great-grandfather, who was a top genius, but unfortunately died on the battlefield before he grew up, and then these eyes have been sealed until now. Originally, these Byakugan were not intended to be used, but now that the eldest son's eyes have been taken away, in order to preserve the inheritance of the position of the clan leader, he can only use the eyes of his great-grandfather. I hope Hiyashi can control it. Without delay, Hyuga Moonmasa took off the Byakugan and turned to leave the secret place. What he didn't know was that there was a being following him into this secret place quietly. I don't know if these people are stupid or arrogant, the same routine can work. The black Zetsu clone emerged from the shadows. After seeing the phantom of his mother, he knew how to supplement his mother's power, and he must start with the descendants of Yuya and Hamura. You must have the Sharingan and the Byakugan. So he not only squatted in the Uchiha family, but also squatted in the Hyuga clan. Especially after receiving the message from the main body, the Hyuga young clan leader knew that the opportunity might come after his eyes were taken away, and the Hyuga clan leader really came here. Originally, he was thinking of waiting for a certain elder of the Hyuga clan to pass away and take the opportunity to come in when his Byakugan was taken out and sealed here, but who would have thought that he would find the opportunity so soon? Without any hesitation, he took out the sealed scroll that he had prepared long ago and packed up all the collections here and took them away. Finally, he notified his main body to use the summoning technique to take him away. This secret place is also covered by a barrier, and ordinary methods cannot enter or exit. Even if he can break the barrier, he will inevitably be sensed by the Hyuga family. But this barrier cannot stop the power of space, and summoning is a basic application of the power of space. The main body of Black Zetsu, who was far away, summoned the split body, and was very satisfied with the harvest in hand, and then looked up at the bright moon in the night sky. Only you were left. He knew that Hamura had taken some descendants to the moon to guard the seal of the Outer Path demon statue and his mother, and there bred a relatively pure Otsutsuki clan. The Senju Uzumaki and Uchiha bloodlines that were mainly dispersed by Hamura have been collected by his younger brother. Among the 3 bloodlines left by Hamura, Kagaya and Hyuga have also been obtained, leaving only the main vein of Hamura on the moon. As long as we get the blood of that main vein, the phantom of my mother will definitely be able to complete it to a large extent. That is equivalent to a contract of my mother, but there is only a carrier and the necessary data is missing, so this is the only way to complete it. Although it is definitely far less powerful than the data of my mother, it is at least enough to push my brother to a certain level. It is unrealistic to condense the blood successor net, but it should not be difficult to ask for the Tao Jade. After Uchiha Madara awakens the Samsara Eye and summons the Outer Path demon statue, the people over there will definitely send someone down to look for it. Looking at the bright moon in the night sky, Heiju had already planned for this. My younger brother is still very young and needs his support, so he has to plan more. Tamura Hao still didn't know that his nephew had planned another resource for him. At this moment, he was on the boat asking his teacher, the third Raikage, for advice on how to change the nature of thunder. Although Fukai is not bad, his practice in changing nature is far inferior to that of the third Raikage. You must know that the third generation of Raikage has transformed through the practice of changing nature, and obtained the power of Black Thunder, which is far stronger than ordinary thunder escape chakra. Perhaps only the purple thunder developed by Kakashi in the future can compare with it. Even though the third Raikage didn't understand the nature of Black Thunder's transformation, he did understand a lot of mysteries. His words benefited Tamura Hao a lot, and the Foke people who were watching also benefited a lot. After sailing like this for several days, they finally arrived at the Kingdom of Thunder, and then went straight back to Union Village. Tamura Hao brought Uchiha Hikari to his unit building, as he had told the third Raikage. After the third Raikage knew that his disciple had used Samahata to devour the girl's Mangekyu eye technique, he didn't care about it. The only person whose Sharingan could catch his eye was Mangekyu. An ordinary Magatama Sharingan was nothing, let alone the other person was just a little girl. This unit building belongs to me. Later you can choose a unit to live in according to your own preferences. Tamura Hao said something to the girl behind him, then walked to the newly changed door of the unit building and knocked on it. He had already told the construction team his requirements, and a gate was installed at the entrance, indicating that the entire building was his private property. The girl behind her glared hatefully at someone in front of her. She woke up when she was on the boat, and then she felt that her kaleidoscope eye technique had been taken away by the shameless villain in front of her. He even planted the mark of 8,000 spears on himself, which meant he would be imprisoned for the rest of his life. How abominable. Click. At this time, the door opened, but it was not the Garura that Tamura Hao thought, but a red-haired girl. Why are you here? Looking at the little girl in front of him, Tamura Hao was a little confused. Why is this girl at home? Despicable villain. Uzumaki Kushina, who was originally in a good mood, immediately turned cold when she saw it was someone. She waved her hand and closed the door to express that she did not welcome a certain big bad guy. Tamura Hao, who was locked out, fell silent and couldn't figure out what was going on. After a while, the door opened again. This time it was Garura who opened the door. Haojun, welcome back. There was a gentle smile on Kaora's face, which made people feel very comfortable as if they were meeting for the first time. Compared with the cold look before leaving, it had changed a lot. Kaora's gentleness and heartfelt goodwill made Tamura Hao understand that the camera foreshadowing he left behind should have worked. However, he did not show it, but pretended to be confused and glanced at Kaora. Tamura Hao walked in and was a little confused by the scene inside. From the outside, the unit building doesn't look like much, except for the addition of a door, but the changes inside are earth-shaking. The first floor has been transformed into an oversized living room, as well as a small bar and kitchen. The stairs have also turned into villa-type indoor stairs, and the various decorations are even more luxurious. You can tell at a glance that it costs a lot of money. Uzumaki Kushina was eating dinner at the dining table. When she saw someone coming in, she snorted and turned her head to the side. Tamura Hao was brought to the dining table by Garuru and sat down. It was now time for dinner. Haojun, please wait. Your dinner will be ready soon. Kaora said apologetically that she didn't know Haojun would come back today, so she only prepared dinner for herself and Kushina. Don't rush to make dinner now. Tell me what's going on in this house. I remember that I only talked about doing simple renovations. What's going on now? Tamura Hao was a little confused. He had only been away for more than a month, so why had such a big change happened? We felt that Haojun's home renovation plan was not perfect, so we made simple modifications. Kaora glanced at Kushina over there and said that he only made simple modifications. Are you sure this is just a simple modification? Looking at the luxurious decoration style and completely changed house layout around him, Tamura Hao suspected that this was the girl's revenge. Just by looking at it, you can tell that a lot of money was spent. Here is the bill. Brother Yui, I will help you pay for the materials first, which is 100 million taels, and the labor cost is 200 million taels. At this time, Uzumaki Kushina threw out a bill, saying that you already owed 300 million taels. How did you come up with these 300 million taels? Even if Luo Sha were to gild this place with placer gold, it wouldn't be such an exaggeration. Looking at the bill, Tamura Hao felt very unhappy. Even though he has the ability to protect himself, he can't be tricked. The renovation above only cost 10 million taels. The key is the renovation of the basement below. This is a basement that has been opened up. Barriers are placed everywhere and the strength is very high. Garura handed over a layout plan of the house, especially the renovation of the basement. Tamura Hao looked at the layout plan and then at the two girls, and his face couldn't help but twitch. You are not building a basement here, you are clearly building a hive. If the above data is correct, this basement has 100 floors, each floor is 10 meters high, which adds up to 1,000 meters, and has a diameter of 100 meters, which almost occupies the entire mountainside of the mountain. Union Village is built in a mountainous area, and the houses are all located on the mountain. The same is true for this unit building. He originally only wanted to open a basement, but now he has opened a hive base. I guess if it weren't for the structural and groundwater problems, these two girls would probably want to drive to the center of the earth. Isn't this labor fee all for the Uzumaki clan? Suddenly he came to his senses and looked at a red-haired girl suspiciously. To open up such a large underground space will definitely require earth release ninjutsu, and the amount of chakra consumed will be exaggerated. There are not that many earth escape ninjas in Union Village, and after thinking about it, they are only from the Uzumaki clan. Although he majored in sealing techniques, using ninjutsu with that kind of chakra would be impressive. Shouldn't I give it? Uzumaki Kushina behaved very confidently. I am just seeking benefit for my clan, what's wrong? How do you want to convince me? Otherwise I won't recognize this bill. Tamura Hao crossed his arms and waited for the two of them to fool him. Someone in his field will not be taken advantage of. Uchiha Hikaru looked at this and that, which seemed quite interesting. Kaorao still looked gentle and explained. Based on Haojun's style, we guess that there will definitely be many girls like us brought here to live in the future. They all need specific training grounds and some laboratory studios and the like. For example, the production of my puppet prostheses requires the assistance of various high-precision instruments. The research and development aspect requires even more, requiring 3 layers. Kushina also needs 3 levels to conduct research on various sealing techniques and barrier techniques. Tamura Hao frowned when he heard this. What does it mean to follow my style? Do I look that much like a pervert? But this statement reminds me that I can steal some plot characters in the future. There are many ways to change the plot. Stealing people is the easiest way, just go to the bottom of the cauldron and draw out the salary. The core people are gone, so the plot will naturally not be able to happen again. I want 3 layers too. After Garuru finished speaking, Uchiha Hikaru, who had been silent for a long time, expressed his intention to take down the 3rd floor, hoping to see this shameless villain lose money. Tamura Hao glanced at the smug girl and ignored her, looking at Karura seriously. These alone are not enough to convince me. In those words, Uzumaki Kushina was obviously just making up the numbers. After all, she was also learning the sealing technique, and it would take many more years for her to develop it. As if he had expected what Tamura Hao would say, Garura calmly explained, the second case once conducted research on human puppets, which is the pinnacle of puppetry. He used human bodies to make puppets and kept the chakra of his life to perform ninjutsu. General puppet creations require high-level chakra threads to operate, and it is not easy even for ninjas to practice. Legs and feet are fine, but the flexibility of the palms is too high, and it is the most difficult to control. If you want to restore them to the same flexibility as the original palms, it is not enough to rely on normal puppet creations. Human puppets must be used, which requires a lot of research and experiments. Human puppets. Tamura Hao fell into deep thought. Human puppets undoubtedly have great development potential. The future scorpion of the Red Sand will start with this. However, human puppets also have limitations, that is, there is a limit to their growth, and it is impossible to surpass their life. Look at the human puppets that the scorpion of the Red Sand has made, they are pure cannon fodder. Moreover, Garura is not a puppeteer, but has only dabbled in it, and has just started. In addition, he is kind-hearted, so even if he tries to study it, it is difficult to get results. After thinking for a while, he said, I can apply for a complete corpse of a Hyuga clan ninja from the village for you. You should study the human puppet secret technique as soon as possible, and make it into a human puppet to control the corpse bone vein. Then use the corpse bone vein to assist in the research of cell differentiation. The human body was originally developed and differentiated from a cell. If the internal principles can be studied clearly, the corresponding limbs and even internal organs can be cloned and printed, and then transplanted to the disabled. The skeleton is the main framework of the human body, and it should be easier with the guidance of the skeleton. It is better to keep the body original. The power of Yongdun to regenerate organs is not easy to handle for the time being, but you can take shortcuts and use the combination of science and technology and ninjutsu to induce and complete the human body printing as set in science fiction movies. The complete cloning of the human body is too taboo, and once it is made, it will be an independent individual. But if it is just printing and shaping limbs and internal organs, it is nothing. This technology sounds difficult, but it is not difficult in the world of Naruto. Chakra is quite versatile in this regard. And this is undoubtedly more profitable than puppet prostheses, especially for those ninjas. As for the bodies of Kagaya ninja, there were still a few intact ones left at the beginning, and now they are all sealed in the research department of the village. Human body regeneration. Garura's eyes lit up. This topic is very good. If the research is really successful, he can use his own cells to make a pair of legs, and then transplant them through surgery. In this way, he can recover completely, and even the burns on the skin can be recovered. Let's develop the human puppet secret technique first. Tamura Hao is very optimistic about the development prospects in this area, and he will definitely make a lot of money. He can even make perfect bodies for those powerful people, especially women. I believe they will be crazy about this and will definitely be willing to pay for replacement. He would not give up on the money ability. The most profitable thing is undoubtedly to tinker with those businesses with professional barriers, so that a monopoly can be formed, and it will be difficult for others to conquer and imitate in a short period of time. It's just that low-level human puppets are not difficult to make. I can start making them after I research that kind of chakra core. Karuro became excited and more confident. It is difficult to make a human puppet that perfectly preserves all the ninjutsu and blood limit during his lifetime. Even the second-generation case cage seems to have failed. But if it is just some low-intensity human puppets, it will be simple. Now it only needs to be able to guide bone growth. The required corpse bone vein power will be much lower, and even the auxiliary guidance of ninjutsu is not needed. Just make a chakra core. I'll go cook for Haojun. Karuro, who was in a better mood, got up and went to the kitchen to tinker. Those things were ready-made and easy to make. Soon, Tamura Hao had a decent dinner. After eating, he sat on the sofa in the living room. Karuro was very gentle and considerate and brought him tea. Let me introduce her to you. Her name is Uchiha Hikaru. She will be a member of the village in the future. She is not the same as the Uchiha in Konoha. Tamura Hao said to Karu and the others that Uchiha Hikaru will be a resident here in the future. It is actually very difficult to place this girl. The third Raikage is also in a dilemma because her identity and experience are too special. The third Raikage hopes that Uchiha Hikaru can integrate into the village steadily, become an Uchiha in the Hidden Cloud Village, and even develop an Uchiha family. This decision is mainly because of the conflict between this girl and the Uchiha family. There is no bond between the two sides. If there is, it is only hatred. In this way, there is a basis for winning her over and integrating her. Otherwise, if it were a Uchiha in Konoha, she would have been dug out her eyes and sent to the research department for research. Uchiha, Kaoru and Uzumaki Kushina were both very surprised. They had been guessing the identity of this girl before, but they really didn't expect it to be Uchiha. Also, I have to plant a mark for you. Tamura Hao raised his hand and pressed it on the forehead of Karula and Uzumaki Kushina, guiding the mark of the 10 tails to be imprinted on the two people, swallowing chakra to purify and transform it, and replacing it with chakra with only Kagai's mark. The control has improved a lot. Karula felt the current chakra and was very surprised. The control of chakra increased a lot at once. Uzumaki Kushina was the same. They all didn't understand how it was done. Even Uchiha Guang couldn't figure it out. The 8,000 spears was the pupil technique of her own Mangekyo. She was very clear about the effect and had used it many times before. But when she used it, there was no such effect. Why did it change when she changed to that shameless villain? Be careful not to use it too much and become blind. Uchiha Guang said unhappily, feeling very unhappy. Although the pupil technique of the Mangekyo is very powerful, it also has great side effects. Her eyesight was greatly reduced at the beginning, otherwise she would not have been sealed by the people of the Senju clan with the 4 symbols in the end. Has your vision recovered? Ignoring the girl's resentment, Tamura Hao talked about the problem of vision recovery. As long as it is not the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan like Uchiha Madara, the eyes will slowly deteriorate when used. Just like Uchiha Itachi couldn't see clearly in the end. Although Uchiha Guang was transplanted with 2 Mangekyo pupil techniques, he didn't have Indra's chakra after all, and it was impossible to evolve the eternal eye, and it was still at the level of Mangekyo. Since it is a Mangekyo, there are naturally side effects. Whose heart is this? Pressing his palm on his chest, Uchiha Guang didn't understand whose heart this was, and the chakra generated by it could actually restore his vision. Although the recovery was very slow, it was indeed recovering. The second Hokage, Senju Tobirama, is the top powerhouse of the Senju family, second only to the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama, and possesses all the chakra attributes. Tamura Hao is very optimistic about Uchiha Hikari, who has fused with Senju Tobirama's heart. He can awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan at such a young age, which is enough to prove his talent. Now with Senju Tobirama's heart, it is equivalent to combining the power of Uchiha and Senju together. It is unrealistic to create a second Uchiha Madara, but it is still possible to imitate Uchiha Obito. If Hashirama's cells are obtained in the future, you can try to inject and fuse them. To be honest, he is quite wary of the future Uchiha Obito. Kamui and the inheritance given by Uchiha Madara are secondary. The key is his own madness, which is almost unscrupulous. He can even plot to kill his own teacher and mistress, which is already crazy. Facing such an existence with almost no ties, it is really difficult to deal with. And the only one who can resist Uchiha Obito is Uchiha, and Uchiha Hikari will be his trump card. You get what you pay for. Lying on the soft big bed, Tianqun Hao felt the power of money, which was much more comfortable than the wooden bed before. What's the matter with you this time? Tianqun Hao turned his head to look at the bedside table. After entering, he sensed the existence of Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu's clone crawled out of the drawer of the bedside table and spit out the sealed scroll that the main body turned over. This is the heritage of the Hyuga family, some of the main families Byakugan, and their many collections. The heritage of the Hyuga family. Tianqun Hao's eyes lit up. The Hyuga family is a top ninja clan, and its family background is definitely not bad. The green chakra of the caged bird seal is very high, and the phantom of the brand belonging to Hamura is also very strong. Did Hamura leave something behind? He turned his eyes away from the sealed scroll and asked about the caged bird seal. I guess Hamura left one of his eyes in the Hyuga clan, and used it to absorb the pupil power and chakra of the white eyes of his descendants. The Black Zetsu clone said a previous guess that the caged bird seal of the Hyuga clan is indeed not simple, and the core point lies in that kind of chakra. Don't think about that. Planning these backgrounds is already the limit. You need to hide in the dark and plan, and you can't expose it. As if he saw his brother's greed, Black Zetsu warned him. It's enough for him to be exposed, and his brother must not be exposed. We can't let them hide forever. Can Homura's eyes become the 10 tails Jinchuriki? If possible, we can secretly guide them to create a 10 tails, use Homura's eyes as the 10 tails eyes, and finally trigger a war. We will reap the benefits. Tamura Hao expressed an idea. He was quite envious of the super giant Samsara eye. The huge size should be very suitable for the 10 tails eye socket. The black Zetsu clone thought for a while and said, Homura's eyes are not worse than Hagoromo's Samsara eye. Theoretically, it is possible, but it cannot evolve into the mother's Samsara Sharingan, but the combat power will definitely be greatly improved. Don't worry about this, I will do it. Also, after Uchiha Madara awakens the Samsara Eye and summons the Outer Path Demon statue, the descendants of Homura on the moon will definitely send people to investigate. At that time, I will arrange for the Hidden Cloud village to know and guide the third Raikage to kill it. Remember to devour their bodies to replenish the mother's power. Compared to Hagoromo, Homura's Otsutsuki bloodline is purer and closer to his mother, especially the moon side that has been intermarrying. Finally, after a reminder, the black Zetsu clone just merged into the ground and left, ready to tell the main body about this matter and let it think about it. Since it is very likely that Hagoromo has discovered his own plan, he might as well muddy the water, the muddier the better, and he can't let Homura continue to hide in the dark, he must be pulled out. I just don't know what the current concept and attitude of the tribe on the moon is. I have to find a chance to understand it and see if there is a chance to induce it. Moreover, the Outer Path Demon statue has been sealed on the moon for so many years. He doesn't believe that the people over there will not do research on it and have no ideas. They are all good things. In this room, Tianqun Hao untied the sealed scroll and looked at the pile of things revealed. He couldn't help but sigh at the richness of the Hyuga clan. Those white eyes are one aspect, and the more important thing is other items. For example, various chakra conduction metals, which add up to hundreds of kilograms. You must know that chakra conduction metals are very precious, countless times more valuable than gold, and the Hyuga clan has hundreds of kilograms of stock here. You must know that in the Uchiha family heritage brought by Black Zetsu last time, the chakra conduction metals added up to less than 10 kilograms. Of course, that is mainly because the Hyuga clan does not use ninja swords and ninja tools very much. They practice soft fists, and the collected chakra conduction metals are naturally more sealed, so it seems more. The secret record of the soft fist. After sealing all the Byakugan into the sealed space and leaving them to be devoured by the little 10 tails and Kagaya's phantom, Tamura Hao resealed the other items into the scroll, leaving only a copy of the secret record of the soft fist to unfold and read. Perhaps it was stored in some absolutely safe place, so there was no ritual seal on this scroll, just an ordinary scroll style, which could be read after it was unfolded. Tamura Hao was not very interested in the soft fist itself. In his opinion, the acupuncture method was not as efficient as stabbing with a knife. What he was interested in now was the ultra-fast attack speed of the soft fist. The attack speed of the soft fist was quite fast, and a wave could be completed in a blink of an eye. After practicing to a certain level, it could even be hit 64 times in one breath, which was the so-called 8 diagrams 64 palms, attacking 64 acupoints. If he could swing 64 swords in one breath, with the sharpness of Big Cat and Little Cat, and if the sharpness of the supersonic Thunderblade or Chidori was added, even the Jonin could be chopped into pieces in one wave. Use the perspective of the Byakugan to see through the meridian points of your arms, stimulate them at a subtle level, and thus burst out super high hand speed. How Tamura, who had seen that secret technique, understood that the key lies in the control of chakra. The meridian system of the human body in this world is spread to the level of individual cells. There are tiny meridians passing through each cell, which are finer than capillaries. Because of this, the refinement of chakra can affect all cells in the body. It's just that those meridians are too fine and delicate, the finest ones are even finer than cells, and it's almost impossible to control the meridians at that level. The Byakugan can control it further than ordinary ninjas with the help of its own pupil technique. Although it is still far from reaching the control of the cell level, it is much more profound than other ninjas. It is precisely because of this profound control that the stimulation of the muscles and bones can be further reduced, while reducing the load on the body, and bursting out that super fast attack speed. It turns out that the key point is the chakra of the Hyuga clan, which has special penetrating power. No wonder it insists on using fingers to point instead of kunai and ninja swords. Continuing to read, Tiankyun Hao's doubts were solved. When he watched Naruto in his previous life, he was wondering, the Hyuga clan's soft fist can attack so many times, wouldn't it be more efficient to poke with kunai directly? Now I understand that the root is in the chakra of the Hyuga clan, which has special penetrating power. Even if the opponent uses defensive ninjutsu such as thunder release armor, it can penetrate. This is indeed not comparable to the sharpness of the ninja sword and kunai. Also, when launching the soft fist Bagua palm, you can also use the pupil power to spread out to form a Bagua formation diagram, which can bind and suppress the opponent's chakra, and then cooperate with the acupoint method to affect the opponent's chakra flow. Once you are hit once, you can't avoid it afterwards. Seeing the Bagua formation diagram, Tiankyun Hao understood the mystery. This is formed with the help of the white eye pupil power, and it can only be performed when the ability of all-round vision is developed. It is similar to the field setting in some novels. I can study it later. Stop thinking. Tiankyun Hao turned back and continued to study the secret technique of speeding up the hand speed, which is the most helpful to him at present. Even if he can't get the perspective ability with the help of the little 10 tails and the shadow of Kagaya, this superfine chakra control technique is also very useful to him. This is a skill different from the strange power. The strange power is to simply increase the explosive power, while this secret technique is to increase the speed of the explosion. The tendency is different and more suitable for his current practice. At the same time, after taking a bath, Jalo lay on the bed for a long time before calming down, and then turned her head to look at an object in the corner of the room. It was an old-fashioned camera covered with cloth, which was found when cleaning the kids' storage room. Although the camera was still usable, there was no film inside, and there was a layer of dust on the hatch. Obviously, no one had used it for a long time. But that was the camera that forced her to take a photo last time, which meant that she was deceived by the little bad guy again. Life here is not bad. Looking at the camera that she had specially moved out and placed in the room, Jalo recalled her life during this period and actually felt a sense of enjoyment. The main thing is that she no longer has to carry out those killing missions, especially the war missions that actively invade and destroy other people's homes. What she does is mainly to help others build prosthetic limbs and resume normal life. Looking at the smiles of those people who have resumed their lives with the help of prosthetic limbs, she feels that she has a new pursuit. She wants to expand this smile and let more people have it. Knock, knock. At this time, the door knocked. Jalo looked at the prosthetic limb beside the bed, controlled a wisp of fine sand to fly over, turned the doorknob and opened it, revealing a red-haired girl. Sister Jalo, I want to sleep with you tonight. Uzumaki Kushina walked in with a pillow in her arms. She didn't want to sleep alone tonight. She didn't want a despicable villain to suddenly appear beside her when she was sleeping. Of course, she knew Jalo's identity and knew that she participated in the war to attack the village, but she knew that she was a kind elder sister who did not hurt her own people in that war. She even helped to treat the people on the battlefield. Although those people did not survive, her actions were enough to prove that they were friends of their Uzumaki clan. And that was a war launched by the high-level officials of the Sand Village. Sister Jalo herself could not object, so it was no wonder. So after living here, she became good friends with Sister Jalo. Hao Jun sometimes does things a little bluntly, but he is actually a good person at heart. Karuro smiled and consoled, knowing what this girl was thinking. Although this girl hated Hao Jun, she was actually more afraid. She didn't dare to sleep alone when she came back tonight. You are not right. Uzumaki Kushina, who had just sat down on the bed, stood up suddenly and came to the opposite side of Karuro, looking at him with a scrutinizing look. You are not right today. You are much gentler to that despicable villain and even took the initiative to cook dinner for him. She had seen that Karuro was not right before, which was completely opposite to her attitude towards that villain earlier. I just discovered his truest side. Karuro smiled gently and did not deny it. She did think that the kid was mean before, but after finding the old camera, she realized that she had misunderstood. He was so hard and mean at the beginning mainly to dispel his thoughts of suicide. My mentality was indeed not good at the beginning. If it weren't for such a hard and humiliating method, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to recover, and I might have committed suicide. Although death is terrible, sometimes living requires more courage. I finally survived. You betrayed. Uzumaki Kushina was very angry. She thought she had found a fellow traveler, but now she found out that he was a traitor. How could you do this? From your personal experience, it is right to hate him, but for the entire Uzumaki clan, you should thank him. If it weren't for him, your Uzumaki clan might have been wiped out, or at least there would be fewer people alive. Karura comforted the girl. It's better to resolve the conflict between the two, otherwise it will be very troublesome in the future. But he is too bad, too despicable. After a moment of silence, Uzumaki Kushina was still angry. That's a despicable villain. Caressing the girl's pink cheek lovingly, Karura held her in his arms with heartache. You are still young and don't understand the dangers and cruelty of reality. Some people look bad but are good inside, and some people look good but are cruel and cold inside. Compared to the former, the latter are the most terrifying. For example, Konoha, they are the allies of your Uzushiogakure. Even during the First Ninja World War, your Uzushiogakure assisted Konoha in resisting the invasion of the Mist Village. But that time they came to plot to kill your Uzushiogakure and killed countless of your clansmen. Even your grandfather and your parents were killed by them with poisonous insects and detonating tags. Your hometown, Uzushiogakure, has also become a ruin, burned to ashes by the fire. She has a deep understanding of this. She originally thought that the village leaders were all amiable, especially Elder Chiyo, who had taught her puppetry and even wanted to take her as a disciple. But in the War of the Country of Whirlpools, she saw the ruthless side of Elder Chiyo, commanding the army to attack the Uzushiogakure. The Uzushiogakure village and their sand village had no hatred before, and they didn't even have much contact, but Elder Chiyo still coldly ordered an attack. In her cognition, that battle was absolutely wrong. They invaded other people's homes and slaughtered those innocent people. What was the difference between them and the forces that invaded their sand village in the past? Uzumaki Kushina fell into silence, thinking about what Sister Karura said. The death of her grandpa, parents, countless relatives and clansmen, and the destruction of the village made her grow up a lot, and she had some opinions on some things. She could understand what Sister Jalo said. Although there were still many things she didn't understand, she understood the truth. She had seen the three people who came from Konoha at the beginning, especially the smile of the elder sister and the son of the Hokage, which made her very fond of them. But the elder brother and elder sister who made her feel good were the real murderers who destroyed their village and countless relatives and clansmen, and the shameless villain who made her angry saved many clansmen. Even the rapid integration of the clansmen in the Hidden Cloud village during this period was helped by the shameless villain. It's too hard to distinguish between good and bad people. Knock knock. Just then, the door knocked, and Jalo controlled the fine sand to open the door without thinking much. It was Tiankyun Hao outside. Hao-jun, what's the matter? Jalo was puzzled, and he came here so late. Is there something wrong? Uzumaki Kushina also raised her head from Karura's arms and looked at someone who came in. I just remembered that I didn't do something. Tamura Hao walked forward with a gentle smile, and then took advantage of the red-haired girl's inattention to lift her up, and used the lightning chakra to shock her so that she twitched all over and lost the power to resist, and then pressed her on the bed, lifted up her nightgown and slapped her. Pa pa pa. Don't make trouble for me in the future, otherwise it won't be 10 slaps next time. After 10 slaps in a row, Tamura Hao stopped, left a warning and turned away. Those are 3 small goals. If he doesn't punish him, his thoughts will not flow, and he will suffer from insomnia at night. Before leaving the room, he glanced at the thing covered with cloth in the corner of the room. Judging from the outline and size, it should be the old camera. Sure enough, Master Lu did not lie. There is no one in this world who can fool people with tricks. If there is, then there will be another trick to form a chain trap, commonly known as a nesting doll. He is a despicable villain. The girl's eyes were red, and her eyes were full of tears. She hated him even more in her heart. Jalo was very embarrassed and didn't know how to persuade him for a while. He just said good things about Hao-jun, but he was slapped in the face in the blink of an eye. On the 3rd day, Tamura Hao put on an Anbu ninja outfit, put on a mask and went to the Raikage's office. This was what the 3rd Raikage had requested, allowing him to study with Dodai for 1 day every Monday. Danzo-sama can actually fight the third cage back and forth. Tamura Hao, who was standing next to Dodai to help process some information, suddenly paused. In his hand was information about Konoha and Sunagaku's front. Although they cannot obtain detailed information, they can still know major events. According to this information, Danzo-sama had fought against the third cage several times, and he did not fall short. An arm was transplanted, and the speed of swinging the knife is super fast. Is it a transplant of a limb limited by blood inheritance? Tamura Hao speculated that arm transplantation itself is already very troublesome, and it will be difficult to return to the original level afterwards. But after Danzo-sama transplanted his arm, not only did his strength not decrease, but it also strengthened. This is abnormal, and it is most likely an arm with a blood inheritance limit. For example, Danzo-sama will have a wooden arm transplanted in the future, so that he can gain the power of wood. This is what we also guessed. The arm Danzo Shimura transplanted should be the arm of a fast ninja. Tutai said that he had seen the intelligence before and had similar speculations. Danzo-sama's roots should not have this ability, otherwise even if he doesn't transplant himself, he will definitely transplant it to the hands of his subordinates to enhance his strength. There must be something unusual here. Quote, Tamura Hao analyzed it, and then continued to read the information about the war between Sunagaku village and Konoha. Tutai didn't say anything and let him rummage around. He applied to allow this boy to come here one day a week for his purpose of training, and at the same time, he would be exposed to the high-level affairs of the village in advance, so that he would be able to deal with it calmly when he takes over in the future. Orochimaru, the third Hokage's disciple, set out from Konoha with Danzo-sama. Seeing a familiar name, Tamura Hao knew that Lord Danzo's arm must be Uncle Snake's handiwork. I want to see some information about Orochimaru. He came up with the idea of watching the intelligence. Although he knew that Uncle Snake's scientific research ability, especially in biology, was unparalleled, some things could not be set out of thin air. He needed some foundation. Go get the information about Orochimaru. Dodai gave instructions to the Anbu ninja on duty. He wanted to see how much useful information this kid could analyze. They will investigate and collect relevant information about special characters in major ninja villages. As Orochimaru is a disciple of the third Hokage, they will naturally pay special attention to him. Even last time, a lot of valuable information was collected from the mouths and minds of those Konoha ninjas, and then collected into categories. It's a pity that they don't have the same spiritual skills as the Mountain Clan, so it's difficult for them to dig out the information deep in their memory. Although there is a pair of 3 Magatama Sharingan, it is too expensive to use and requires special medicine, so it can only be used on some key figures. Soon the Anbu ninja brought several scrolls, all of which contained information about Orochimaru. You can make your body more flexible than normal without using seals. It seems that our Orochimaru also has extraordinary transformation abilities and can transform himself. After reading those pieces of information, Tamura Hao took advantage of the situation and gave his analysis. Do you think Orochimaru helped Danzo Shimura transplant that arm? The third Raikage, who had been practicing the art of light and heavy rock, spoke up and valued this transformation method very much. Tamura Hao said solemnly, Danzo-sama himself does not have such talents and means, and transplanting the Sharingan is already the limit. At this time, Orochimaru suddenly appeared next to Danzo-sama, and even accompanied him on the way to the front line. In addition, Orochimaru seemed to have made some kind of transformation on himself. These conditions combined are enough to prove that Danzo-sama's arm is strong. Related to Orochimaru, quote, speaking of this, Tamura Hao said excitedly, Lord Raikage, we need this method of transplanting the blood inheritance limit. Even if the restriction is not high, it will be used in the study of corpse veins. If we can succeed, we can completely use the corpse bone veins to improve the bone strength of our ninjas in the ninja village, and even gain the physical self-healing ability of the Kagaya clan, which will be very helpful for the practice and performance of nintaijutsu. Quote, all the major ninja villages have been researching the transplantation of the blood inheritance limit, but unfortunately they have not been successful. What Union village wants most is the corpse bone veins, especially the Yayoi clan. There is no need to obtain the ability to pull out bones to fight, as long as you obtain the most basic ability to increase bone strength. The bone strength of the ninjas of the Kagaya clan is much higher than that of other ninjas, with a hardness beyond steel, making them most suitable for taijutsu training and fighting. If Metkai could be assisted by corpse veins, he might really be able to kick Six Paths Madara to death. The third Raikage was speechless, but he was excited about this transplant method. He even wanted to obtain corpse bone veins to further enhance bone strength, especially the hand bones, which could greatly improve his defense and attack power. How do you think we should get this transplant method from Orochimaru? Dodai asked with interest. They really needed to get this technology, but it was not easy to get it from the Hokage disciples. Tamura Hao said with a frown. The disciples of the Hokage don't want to be tough, they can only make deals with inducements. A person who can ruthlessly transform himself must be very thirsty for power. This should be a breakthrough. Go on. Tudai motioned to continue, and the third Raikage was also watching, with a look of relief on his face, becoming more and more satisfied with this disciple. What their Union village needs most is this kind of brainy person. His son's ninja talent is not bad, enough to become a Kage, but his brain is not enough, and his temper is a bit impulsive. He must have a think tank to assist him. This kid is just right and perfect. According to the information we got from the mouths and minds of those Konoha ninjas, although Lord Danzo and the third Hokage are one, there are also conflicts. Lord Danzo wanted to become the fourth Hokage, but the third Hokage disagreed and was on guard. As a disciple of the third Hokage, Orochimaru cannot possibly not know this, but now that he is hanging out with Danzo-sama, there must be something that attracts him. Judging from the information we currently know, the best resource in Lord Danzo's hands is undoubtedly the research on the Sharingan, which is one of the two strongest powers in Konoha and even the ninja world. And with the Sharingan, I'm afraid Danzo-sama, the first Hokage, is also doing research on the power, so we can start from this aspect. Quote. Tamura Hao naturally knows what to use to seduce Orochimaru at this stage. According to the Uzumaki clan books I have read, there is a saying that the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan are both derived from the legendary ninja clan and the Six Paths Sage. One of them inherited the physical strength of the Six Paths Sage, and the other inherited the power of the eyes of the Sage of Six Paths. Moreover, Samahata swallowed some of the organs and tissues of Sharingan and Senju Tobarama. Although the two powers are opposite, they seem to complement each other. In addition, Uchiha Hikaru's eyesight is slowly recovering with the second-generation Hokage's heart transplant. Maybe that record is true. Quote. Six Paths Sage and Ninja Sect. The third Raikage was thoughtful. Because of the Six Paths Ninja tool, he knew that the Six Paths Sage was a real person who existed, and even knew the name Ninja Sect. Tutai, you are responsible for this matter. Combined with the relevant records of the Uzumaki clan and us, we can get a reasonable piece of information to trade with Orochimaru. Finally, they made a decision that they must get the perfect transplant method that is within the limits of blood inheritance. Clear, Dodai must be more and more satisfied with the boy next to him, but it sounds weird to Danzo-sama. If Danzo Shimura knows your true position in the future, I am afraid he will die in peace. Tutai was very efficient in his work. He worked out a reasonable ancient record the next day, and then arranged for people to take a detour by sea to the kingdom of Kawa. The messenger of Iwagakure village. In the Jukio mountain castle on the border of the Land of Fire, Danzo Shimura was very surprised after hearing the report. Why would Yenian village send an envoy to his side? What does that old guy Onoki want to do? Maybe they have some novel ideas. Orochimaru, who was adjusting and restoring arm cells to Danzo Shimura, said something and was also curious about the purpose of Iwagakure's visit. Go bring them here. Shimura Danzo couldn't figure it out for a while, and now he could only wait for someone to come over and take a look. How many more times can I use this arm? Looking at the gray-white arm, Shimura Danzo was not satisfied with this. I originally thought I could maintain it forever, but who would have overdrawn it after fighting the third Kage a few times? Orochimaru still comes here from time to time to adjust and maintain it, otherwise it would have been useless. What he wants is not this kind of consumable. We are currently studying the nature of the superactivity of the first-generation cells. If there are any results, we can use that superactivity to further maintain this arm. But if you continue to engage in that kind of high-intensity battle, you will eventually collapse. Quote. Wrapping Shimura Danzo's arm with a specially prepared medical bandage, Orochimaru knew the arm wouldn't last long. At least we have to survive this war. Danzo Shimura did not want to lose his place in this war. Orochimaru didn't say much, but he didn't leave either, ready to see what the envoy from Iwagakure village had to say. Soon a middle-aged strong man was brought in. He had a strong figure unique to Iwagakure village, but his forehead protector and clothes had changed, which was a kind of cover. Lord Shimura Danzo, this is our Tsuchikage-sama's intention to cooperate. Please take a look at it. The middle-aged man said nothing and took out the scroll he had brought. A long snake sprang out of Orochimaru's sleeve, biting the scroll and grabbing it. After looking at it, he unfolded it. After reading the contents, there was a hint of shock on his face. Immediately, he handed the scroll to Shimura Danzo with a strange expression. Danzo Shimura was also shocked after glancing at him. How dare that old guy Onoki think about it? However, if this is the goal, Onoki can indeed let go of his hatred for the battle in the Whirlpool country and send people to cooperate with him. Go back and tell Onoki that he is too impatient. After casually smashing the scroll with wind release, Danzo Shimura said indifferently. The content in the scroll is very simple, that is, they want to secretly join forces to kill the Thousand Hands clan. They share a common goal in this regard, but now is not the time. Because that person is still alive, the previous plot against the Uzumaki clan has reached the limit of what that person can tolerate. If the Senju clan is tricked to death now, they will definitely be furious. You have to wait until that person dies before you can start. I will tell Tsuchikage-sama. The middle-aged man nodded seriously, bowed before exiting, and gave Orochimaru a special look before leaving. Shimura Danzo was not the target of his trip, and the scroll was also forged, just so that he could come and see this Hokage disciple. I originally thought it would take some twists and turns, but I didn't expect that this person was by Shimura Danzo's side at the moment, which saved a lot of trouble. That look made Orochimaru slightly startled, and then he smiled. It seems that there is a surprise of my own. I'm going back to do experiments. After saying something to Shimura Danzo, Orochimaru walked out of the room and followed the middle-aged man who was led away by the root ninja and left the castle. In the end, the other party stayed in a secluded place, where there were 3 other figures. The burly ninja answered. One of them nodded to the middle-aged man who returned, and then looked in a direction, apparently sensing the target. Lord Orochimaru. Turning around, the middle-aged man nodded slightly and saluted Orochimaru, who walked out from behind a big tree. What do you want from me? Orochimaru asked with interest, seeing that the 4 people were not hostile and obviously came with good intentions. We are very interested in Shimura Danzo's method of transplanting that arm. This time we specially prepared an ancient piece of information about the Senju family and the Uchiha family. I believe Lord Orochimaru will like it. As the middle-aged man spoke, he took a scroll handed over by his companion. Senju and Uchiha. The snake eyes narrowed slightly. Orochimaru was thinking about it and was also very interested in it. This deal doesn't seem to be reciprocal. How do you convince me that the information is valuable? We are not Iwa ninjas, but Kumo ninjas. We have the inheritance of the 6 Paths ninja tools. The former Golden Horn Silver Horn was the descendant of the 6 Paths sage. Last time, we obtained the inheritance of the Uzumaki clan. We have many ancient secrets, including the Senju. The origin of the family and the Uchiha clan. The middle-aged man did not hesitate to tell his true identity. Kumo ninja. After chanting for a while, Orochimaru became more interested in the scroll. Immediately he raised his hand to form a seal, and channeled a scroll from his mouth. Exchange at the same time and verify at the same time. After saying this, Orochimaru threw the scroll over. He was not afraid of the 4 playing tricks. Although the other party was a Junin in terms of chakra strength, he had his own way to deal with it. Not to mention that this place is not far from the castle, and there are countless Konoha ninjas patrolling around. These people will not be able to escape if they really dare to play tricks. The middle-aged man threw out the scroll in his hand without any hesitation, and a man next to him used steel wire to wrap the scroll covered with mucus and quickly unfolded it. Several people wore masks and did not touch the scroll directly, obviously guarding against Orochimaru. One of the medical ninjas quickly read the records in the scroll to confirm its authenticity. After a while, He nodded and said it was genuine. At least with his knowledge of medical ninjutsu, he could not see any problems. And Orochimaru on the opposite side was also very excited. The information inside was exactly what he needed. So that's it. Senju and Uchiha are actually from the same source. They are all descendants of the Six Paths Sage. The Sharingan is not evolving, but regressing. The legendary Uchiha Madara's eyes should be the limit of the Sharingan. If the power of the Senju clan is added, it may be possible to further regress to the eyes of the Six Paths Sage, the legendary Samsara Eye. At this moment, he understood, and many confusions in his heart were also answered. He has studied the Sharingan and the first generation of cells to a certain level, and has made many puzzled and strange discoveries, and this information explains everything. If so, then everything can be explained, and the two studies can also be merged, which will definitely yield better results. It seems that Lord Orochimaru is very satisfied with this deal, and we are satisfied too. We hope to have more deals in the future. The middle-aged strong man saw Orochimaru's excitement and satisfaction, and after saying this, he slowly retreated, still keeping vigilant. I am looking forward to it. After taking a deep look at the four people, Orochimaru turned and left. Since they are so sincere, he will naturally not kill them in return, which will not benefit him. If he really angers the Cloud Ninja for this, it will be very dangerous to be targeted by the Third Raikage. At the same time, he is also looking forward to the next transaction with the Hidden Cloud Village, and he thinks there will definitely be more surprises. Such a trading partner with background and sincerity must be maintained. Chapter 91. Tamura Hao didn't pay much attention to the matter of hooking up with Snake Uncle, and he didn't care about that kind of blood transplant. His path is very clear. He has to take the route of blood fusion to drive the improvement and transformation of his own blood. As for blood, the blood of the few bloods that the Kagaya Phantom swallowed, the blood of the Otsutsuki is enough. In this way, Tamura Hao once again entered the stage of wretched development. While practicing and learning in various ways, he constantly adjusted his own compatibility with the Little Ten Tails and Kagaya's Phantom Chakra. Only by improving the compatibility can he gain more abilities. This is a plug-in created by himself, and it must be used well. After practicing and learning like this for half a year, Tamura Hao is ready to condense the Yang Seal. Of course, the most important thing is to accumulate chakra. Although the chakra required for the Yang Seal to condense is much lower than that of the Yin Seal, there is also a minimum standard, which is the Jonin level. The Yin Seal is a sealing technique that can only be cultivated and used by cage-level strongmen. At least the amount of chakra is up to standard, and it can burst out more than 10 times the chakra of the cage level. Therefore, Yin Seal is an S-level sealing technique, while Yang Seal is one level lower, which is an A-level sealing technique. It requires a Jonin level chakra to be cultivated, and the chakra control requires higher. In terms of chakra control, Tianqun Hao has already reached the standard, but the chakra amount is much worse, so he can only cheat indirectly and seal the chakra with a sealing scroll. As for why the sealed space in the abdomen is not used, it is because the Little Ten-Tailed and the Phantom of Kagaya inside are very greedy for his chakra, and once he enters, he will be swallowed up by himself. He can't keep an eye on it, so he can only use external objects to temporarily seal it. For this, he prepared for a full month, and the chakra he refined every day was sealed in the sealing scroll, which added up to 1 card. I hope it will succeed at once. Taking a deep breath, Tianqun Hao sat cross-legged in the center of the technique array, first opened the comprehension enhancement function of the golden finger, and then opened the seal on the sealing scroll to absorb the chakra into the body. He raised his hand and made a seal to control the chakra to spread along the magic array on the ground around him, and soon filled it up and lit it up. It was engraved with his own accumulated blood, and it is a very good chakra conductor. Yang Seal, seal. After confirming that the operation of the seal array was no problem again, Tianqun Hao made the last hand seal and guided the magic array to merge into his body. The seal magic array on the ground quickly shrank with his sternum as the core, and finally turned into a round mark the size of a soybean. Unlike the Yin seal branded on the forehead, the Yang seal is in the middle of the chest, and it is a black round mark. I am ambitious now. Looking at the Yang seal on his chest, Tianqun Hao smiled. After preparing for so long, it finally succeeded. Of course, the reason for success is that in addition to many preparations, the most important thing is that the level of the Yang seal is not high, which is far worse than the Yin seal. At the same time, the requirements for cultivation are reduced, and the effect is greatly reduced. The original Yin seal can store 10 times the chakra of the cage level, which is the main reason why Tsunade and Sakura exploded so fiercely after unlocking the Yin seal. The Yang seal can only store the chakra of a standard Jonin, that is, 1 card, which is only 1% of the Yin seal, which is too much. However, the Yang seal also has advantages, that is, it can be used as needed, it can be used without filling it up, and it will not be actively absorbed, and there will be no scene like Sakura in the future who becomes a weak chicken in order to practice the Yin seal. This is much freer and safer. My current chakra volume is about 1/30th of Karura's, which is already a mid-level level among the genin. It takes a month to refine chakra to fill the Yang seal. Relying on many resources, especially the secret medicine of the Night Moon clan, the chakra volume can barely reach 1 card after adulthood. It's still too low. I have to find a way to practice the blood limit as soon as possible to improve my bloodline and chakra origin. After calculating, Tamura Hao was very depressed. Chakra cultivation requires too much talent. It is difficult to improve without the blood of Otsutsuki. The real top powerhouses in the ninja world are all descendants of Otsutsuki. If he wants to improve, he can only follow the bloodline route mentioned by Black Zetsu. However, it is not so easy to fuse the bloodline limit. The corresponding nature change needs to be cultivated to an extreme, and then fused. Among the bloodline limits in the ninja world today, there are only Storm Escape, Swift Escape and the Thunder and Earth Magnetic Escape in the village that can pull iron. Among them, Storm Escape and Thunder and Earth Magnetic Escape are both external types, which consume a lot of chakra when used. The Swift Escape of the Sand Village is a speed-enhancing type, which is also suitable for future combat needs. After cultivating the nature change of the Thunder attribute to the limit, you can practice the Wind attribute. It should not be difficult with the help of the banana fan. Tamura Hao is eyeing the Swift Escape, which is the bloodline limit transplanted by Danzo. His body has not grown up due to age restrictions, so it is not suitable for the development of strength. It is more efficient to go for speed and agility. The chakra itself is of the lightning attribute. If you cultivate it into a wind attribute, you can try to fuse it with the Swift Escape. It would be best if you could get the chakra research and analysis of the Swift Escape ninja, or even use it as a guide, which should be much faster. Of course, this is a matter for the future. At this stage, you still have to focus on the nature change of the lightning attribute. At this point, the development of Chidori is very important. If Chidori can be developed and extended, especially the 2S level ninjutsu of Kirin and Reikiri, as long as they are developed, the change of one's own lightning attribute will be considered completed. Fortunately, the Night Moon secret medicine mainly improves physical fitness, especially bone strength. I use the fusion of Keigaya's phantom chakra to obtain a low degree of corpse bone vein assistance, and the effect is better. The current bone strength is much stronger than before, no worse than ordinary steel, but the effect of the secret medicine on me has begun to decrease. At the current speed, it will reach the limit in about 4 or 5 times. Standing up and moving his hands and feet, Tianqun Hao is still quite satisfied with the improvement in the past 6 months. The amount of chakra is limited by his own qualifications, but the physical fitness has been greatly improved with the blessing of various effective exercises and the Night Moon secret medicine, especially the bone strength. If you really want to practice to the extreme that the Night Moon secret medicine can achieve, I am afraid that you can fight against those fine kanai. I don't know how far Uchiha Madara has progressed. I couldn't help but think of Uchiha Madara. After absorbing the Byakugan, Keigaya's phantom seemed to have reached the edge of a transformation, and it was just missing the last plate. If he could devour the body of a powerful Otsutsuki on the moon, he would definitely be able to complete this piece, making Keigaya's phantom complete, and the transformation that would occur would definitely be significant. This is a plug-in created by others, and he even wants to cultivate a new consciousness for it, to become Keigaya who belongs only to him, so that he can use it with confidence. If there is a chance in the future, he can even swallow the sealed Otsutsuki Keigaya and obtain all her power. And if he wants to lure the Otsutsuki strongman on the moon down, he can only wait for Uchiha Madara to awaken the Samsara Eye and then summon the Outer Path demon statue down. This is the opportunity that he and Black Zetsu have been planning and waiting for. Uchiha Madara, who was missed by Tamura Hao, was very confused at the moment. He could feel that his body was failing, reaching its limit, and even his consciousness fell into coma many times, but he still did not gain that kind of all-encompassing power. Although the power in his body and Hashirama's power no longer conflict as strongly as they did in the early days, they are still in a state of opposition and have not merged at all, let alone given birth to the power of all things. Hashirama, did I still fail? The figure of his best friend could not help but appear in his mind, and Uchiha Madara was very unwilling to do so. I planned so much just to prove that I was right, but it turned out to be a joke. Nowadays, the ninja world only remembers Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage, as the god of ninja. Who still remembers Madara Uchiha, the rose he danced on the battlefield. But no matter how unwilling you are, it is difficult to change the body's aging, or even death. In such unwillingness, the consciousness slowly fell into darkness, and the soul also left the body and went to the legendary Pure Land of Underworld. Did it fail? Or, Black Zetsu, who had been secretly watching, whispered in his heart that he noticed Uchiha Madara's death. The vitality of his body dissipated and his soul also left. This was real death. But at this moment, Uchiha Madara's soul suddenly returned to his body, and the pupil power in his eyes also transformed, or it could be said that there was a higher level of pupil power. As expected, sensing Uchiha Madara's sudden change, Black Zetsu said that it was true, and immediately withdrew his gaze to completely hide himself. In the past, he could monitor Uchiha Madara at will, but now that he has the Rinnegan eye, Uchiha Madara's perception will be greatly improved, and he will definitely be sensed if he looks directly at him. This eye power, Uchiha Madara, who regained consciousness, could not help laughing excitedly when he felt the pupil power in his eyes that far exceeded the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Ha ha ha, Hashirama, I won in the end. After a while, he stopped laughing wildly. Uchiha Madara whispered that he was the winner after all. It turns out that all-encompassing power is the eye of samsara. At this time, he finally understood what the power of all things meant. It turned out to be the legendary samsara eye of the immortal of 6 paths. But before he was happy for a long time, Uchiha Madara felt that the samsara eye was devouring his chakra and even his life force. If he continued like this, he would definitely be sucked dry. The samsara eye is too strong and cannot be endured by my aging body. Suddenly feeling something, he pondered for a while. Uchiha Madara bit his finger and raised his hand to form a seal, and integrated into the power of the samsara eye. Bang! As a burst of mist dispersed, a behemoth suddenly appeared, which was the outer demon statue of the 10 tails. Although the source of chakra has been drained, his body still possesses huge vitality, far beyond imagination. As if he had a kind of control over the heretic demon, Uchiha Madara used the pupil power of the samsara eye to pull it, and a white pipe extended from the body of the heretic demon and pierced into the chest, supplying a large amount of life force. With the supply of heretic golems, Uchiha Madara felt much better, and his physical condition even improved. The heretic demon statue. Is it left behind by the immortal of 6 paths? Uchiha Madara, who was in a better condition, had just carefully looked at the big guy who had channeled it. He was very huge, much larger than the 9 tails, and the aura it exuded was extremely terrifying. It was definitely an existence that far exceeded the tailed beasts. This was obtained after he obtained the samsara eye. It seemed to be connected to the samsara eye, and he instinctively knew that this object was a heretic demon. The eye of reincarnation is the power of the immortal of 6 paths. He is a descendant of the immortal of 6 paths. Now that he has awakened the eye of reincarnation, what he obtains is naturally the legacy of the immortal of 6 paths. After staring at the heretic demon for a long time, Uchiha Madara suddenly cut off the pipe connected to his body with a wave of his hand, left the underground space and rushed towards Konoha quickly. He has a lot of doubts in his heart. The only thing that can solve these doubts now is the stone tablet. There are also parts on it that the eternal kaleidoscope cannot decipher. There should be the answers he wants. Fortunately, his current reincarnation eye power is strong enough to block Mito's perception and sneak into Konoha silently. The tail was cut off. Did you really do research on it? Hidden in the dark, Black Zetsu looked at the heretic golem and found that the tail behind it had been cut off, leaving only 10 protrusions. This should be done by the descendants of Hamura. Now we just wait for the descendants of Hamura to appear. Whispering in his heart, Heiju left quietly. With his younger brother's original analysis, he monitored Uchiha Madara much more closely, and even secretly made arrangements here to assist him in monitoring. Only then can he sense the subtle changes in Uchiha Madara's body just now. His samsara eyes were not formed by merging the chakras of Indra and Asura, but were shaped by an extra pupil power out of thin air. Thinking about Uchiha Madara's real death just now, and even the soul leaving the body, it is obvious that his brother's guess is correct. All of this was secretly guided by Yuya. As expected, it was hidden in the pure land of Underworld, and his plan was bound to be noticed by the other party. Indra's chakra has left. Doesn't he want to be swallowed by the samsara eye? Thinking about the many changes in Uchiha Madara, he knew that Indra chakra had left, or was taken away by the Sage of Six Paths. In other words, there will be new reincarnations of Indra, and there will also be reincarnations of Asuras. He had known this for a long time, and his younger brother had also guessed it. According to his earlier calculations, once Uchiha Madara awakened the samsara eye, he would definitely be able to use the samsara eye to devour Indra's chakra and become the nourishment of the samsara eye. Although Indra's chakra is of extremely high quality and can survive and reincarnate, it is much worse than the samsara eye. Even when Uchiha Madara awakened the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, he faintly sensed Indra's chakra. At that time, Uchiha Madara was no worse than Indra back then. This time Indra's chakra was taken away. It must be that Yuya didn't want to be swallowed by Uchiha Madara with the samsara eye, so that Indra would be completely destroyed. It is even possible that Yuya wanted to make some arrangements with the help of Indra and Ashura, as his younger brother guessed. I won't lose. Black Zetsu was very determined and confident that he would never lose, and he would definitely rescue his mother and train his younger brother at the same time. This is the responsibility of a son and brother. Let alone Black Zetsu's thoughts, Uchiha Madara on the other side used the instant body technique to quickly arrive at Konoha, quietly sneaked under the Uchiha shrine, and stood in front of the stone tablet again. This time with the existence of the samsara eye, he finally saw all the contents recorded on the stone tablet. Moon Eye Plan. Human Evil Purification Plan. Looking at the two plans, Uchiha Madara was shocked at first, and then laughed wildly. Ha ha ha, Hashirama, I said you are all wrong. The existence of the ninja village is destined to be a mistake. As long as the bad roots of human beings are not eliminated, fighting and war will not stop, and tragedies will appear in reincarnation and never end. Only by eradicating the bad roots of human beings and leaving only the side of love can we achieve true peace. Uchiha Madara was very happy. The two plans left by the Six Paths Sage were too much in line with his mind. Compared with his previous proposal to unify the ninja world by force and establish a single ninja village, it was more perfect. It is worthy of the legendary Six Paths Sage. This is the real road to peace. Looking at the stone tablet in front of him, Uchiha Madara is full of confidence in the future. According to the records on the stone tablet, the Six Paths Sage had envisioned a path to permanent peace, which is the Moon Eye Plan and the Human Evil Purification Plan. The two are complementary and indispensable. The Moon Eye Plan will pull everyone into the illusion world, allowing them to develop as they please in the illusion world and show all their good and evil thoughts. Afterwards, the mind will become more mature. If you can perfectly control your own desires and emotions, you can take the initiative to leave the illusion space and start a new life. And those who still cannot control their own desires can further forcibly clear them through illusions, erase the other party's desires, and leave only the love side. In this way, the whole world will be full of love, and true peace will come. However, these two plans also have a cruel side, so although the Six Paths Sage envisioned them, he did not implement them in order to give humans a chance. Unfortunately, the 1,000-year history of war has proved that the hope left by the Six Paths Sage is wrong. Humans with bad natures cannot breed true peace. What the Six Paths Sage failed to accomplish back then will now be accomplished by me, Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara said arrogantly and resolutely, and turned away. He needs to return as soon as possible to continue to receive the life force of the Outer Path Demon statue, otherwise this body will not be able to withstand the extraction of the Samsara Eye. Moreover, his Samsara Eye is not complete. The power of Senju and Uchiha alone is not enough. He also needs another descendant of the Six Paths Sage, Uzumaki. The Uzumaki in the hidden cloud village will definitely not work, and the Samsara Eye must not fall into the hands of any ninja village. He can only look for those scattered Uzumaki clan members in the ninja world. At the same time, Tamura Hao, who was far away in the hidden cloud village, also received a notice from the Black Zetsu split that Uchiha Madara had obtained the Samsara Eye and summoned the Ten Tails body. Is it really the plan of the Six Paths Sage? How Tamura was not surprised after hearing the words of the Black Zetsu clone. Just like the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan needs the assistance of Indra's chakra, the appearance of the Samsara Eye also needs the guidance of a higher level of power, which can only be the Six Paths Sage. Just like the Six Paths Sage gave Uchiha Sasuke the Six Magatama Samsara Eye in the Fourth War, it cannot be awakened without the power of the Six Paths Sage. As for Indra's chakra, even Indra himself did not transform the Samsara Eye back then. How could he help Uchiha Madara awaken it? Or how much chakra can a piece of meat carry if it is fused with Asura's chakra? If it is really that easy, why didn't Uchiha Obito's Sharingan be upgraded by this? Not to mention upgrading to the Samsara Eye, even the Eternal Eye cannot be transformed. So the Six Paths Sage is the mastermind behind everything. Black Zetsu is inferior to him. In the end, he didn't even make a real move. He just guided Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke to seal both Kagaya Otsutsuki and Black Zetsu. The two are really not on the same level. The Six Paths Sage is at least at the level of the atmosphere. Of course, this does not mean that the Six Paths Sage is a villain, but just a different position. Moreover, the Black Zetsu side is obviously more in line with Tamura Hao's position and interests. Real adults use their butts to decide their heads, and Tamura Hao is no exception. If I hadn't made detailed arrangements to strengthen my perception, I might not have discovered it. The Black Zetsu clone sighed that he had been scheming for 1,000 years but was still not as good as Yui. Fortunately, he had a smart brother. What is Uchiha Madara doing now? Is he studying the body of the Ten Tails? Tamura Hao asked. I went to Konoha and looked at the stone tablet under the Uchiha shrine. I perfected the plan based on your last analysis and added a plan to purify one's evil to the Moon Eye plan. The many changes in Ban are due to the bad nature of some individuals, greed, hatred, deception, etc. I believe he will like that plan very much. The Black Zetsu clone laughed sinisterly. This is easier to convince people than the simple Moon Eye plan. He knew Uchiha Madara's growth very well, and the biggest change of Uchiha Madara was hearing the conversation between the two brothers Senju Hashirama. Senju Hashirama wanted to make Uchiha Madara the second-generation Hokage as promised, but was rejected by Senju Tobirama and was persuaded. This made Uchiha Madara feel deceived by Senju Hashirama. He left Konoha and drove the Nine Tails back to fight with Senju Hashirama and got his meat. Now that his old friends, relatives and enemies have all died, Uchiha Madara has no more ties, only the pursuit of peace and the need to prove his own correctness to Hashirama Senju. As long as he is guided according to this, he will succeed 100%. What about him next? What should he do? Tamura Hao is very envious of Uchiha Madara's body. Even without Indra's chakra, his body is still very precious. It will definitely be a great supplement for Kagaya's shadow and the little ten-tail to swallow it. His body is not good, and his Samsara eyes are not perfect enough. He still needs the chakra of the Uzumaki clan to keep nurturing. In addition, the pupil technique of Uchiha Madara's Samsara eyes is not clear at the moment. I don't plan to take action next. Let's see how Yui will act. Heiju doesn't plan to intervene anymore. Since Yui has created the Samsara eyes for Uchiha Madara, there must be a plan. He is just hiding in the dark and watching. That should be a good show. Tamura Hao understood that the Samsara eye would have unique eye techniques, such as Uchiha Sasuke's Sky Hand Power and Uchiha Madara's Wheeling Grave Prison. It's just like the Mangekyo, there are rarely repeated eye techniques, unless there is something wrong with the eyes. Although Uchiha Madara's Samsara eye originated from the Six Paths Sage, it must have unique techniques, such as the Outer Path Samsara Natural Born Technique. The Samsara eye and the Sharingan are two different eyes, right? Tamura Hao suddenly asked, with a bold idea in his mind. Mom's Samsara Sharingan is unique, which is related to the particularity of this world. That kind of Sharingan is equivalent to a byproduct, which is fundamentally different from the Samsara eye power. Although he didn't know what his younger brother had in mind, Black Zetsu still gave an answer. Uchiha Madara is now old, and Indra's chakra has just left his body. It takes time to find a suitable host to reincarnate, and the reincarnated body also needs time to grow. If I were Yui, even if I could create a pupil technique that could restore the body for Uchiha Madara, there would definitely be many restrictions. In addition, the eyes still need the chakra of the Uzumaki clan to nourish and perfect, so this is an opportunity. When Uchiha Madara finds a suitable candidate to transplant the Samsara eye, you will bring the eyes here, or take me there, and extract the power of the Sharingan from the eyes. The Samsara eye is the key to everything. I believe that Uchiha Madara will not need the eternal eye in the future, and the transplanter who carries the Samsara eye should not be able to guide out that power. Tamura Hao has set his eyes on Uchiha Madara's eternal eye. Even if the eyes are not used for devouring, they can create a top strong man. Looking at the entire Naruto plot, the Samsara eye has never shown the power of the Sharingan before, but the impure world Madara has shown it. So if we extract that power, Uchiha Madara and the Six-Path Sage will definitely not find out. That power is also very strong. The Black Zetsu clone understood and agreed with this proposal. The more power they have, the higher the chance of saving their mother in the future. The descendants of Hamura on the moon should be coming down soon. You should cooperate well in the hidden cloud village. Leave the other things to me. Don't interfere, so as not to be noticed by them. After saying this, the Black Zetsu clone sank into the ground and left. Otsutsuki. Tamura Hao was looking forward to it. Sunagakur village was so anxious that they finally made those Sarutobi ninjas and Shimura ninjas into human puppets. In the Reikage building, Tamura Hao looked at the intelligence from various fronts, especially the one in Sunagakur village and Konoha, and finally saw the appearance of the human puppet. Back then, they packed up all the bodies of the Konoha ninjas led by Lord Danzo and sent them to Sunagakur village. There were even a few prisoners who were still alive, including the son of the Hokage. However, no relevant information came out after they were sent there. I thought that Sunagakur village would have some bottom line and not plan to use those corpses. Who would have thought that they would suddenly use them and catch the Konoha ninja over there by surprise? In particular, the ninja mentality of the Shimura and Sarutobi clans collapsed. The ninja army of Sunagakur village broke through the defense line and almost reduced the Jukio mountain castle to ruins, causing heavy losses. High-quality human puppets shouldn't be that easy to make. Todai pointed out that it is not that Sunagakur village has morals and bottom lines, but that it is difficult to make human puppets, especially when Chio and Ebizo, the leaders of the puppet master line of Sunagakur village, are both semi-disabled. That's why it's been delayed until now. Those corpses have extraordinary significance to the members of the Sarutobi Shimura clan. They can only be effective the first time they are used. Once the defense line cannot be broken the first time, the second time will only arouse the anger of the two clans of ninjas. That's right. Tamura Hao was stunned and immediately continued to watch the information. There are ninjas suspected of being from the Hyuga clan in our country, but they don't have forehead protectors. He paused after seeing a piece of information, knowing that it must have been discovered by someone from Black Jew and then passed on. Otherwise, with the abilities of the Moon Otsutsuki clan, it would be too easy to avoid being discovered. It should be because of those eyes. The person who can be sent here so boldly must be a ninja from the separation family. Tutai casually said that he had read the information, but didn't pay much attention to it. He had even expected it. However, he was a little confused that the Hyuga clan had endured it for so long before sending someone over. No, this information mentioned that there were moon and dot-shaped marks on their clothes. I seem to have seen this kind of mark there. Tamura Hao's face became solemn, and he made a small expression of thinking. Tudai and the third Reikage who were practicing both looked over. Is there anything wrong with that information? Bring over all the books on the Hyuga clan from the Uzumaki clan. Tamura Hao thought for a while and seemed to have thought of something. His face became more solemn and he motioned to the Anbu ninja to get the classics. The Anbu here have known about Tamura Hao's identity for such a long time, and they didn't hesitate after he spoke. Someone left quickly, and soon came over with a lot of scrolls. After obtaining those classics from the Uzumaki clan, they immediately classified and sorted them, making them easy to find. He took the scrolls and flipped through them quickly. When he saw one, he suddenly stopped. Of course, this classic is a forgery, shaped by Heiju himself, and even the text is in ancient characters. The distinguished guest of the ninja clan, the source of Hyuga, and the ancestor of Kagaya. The Tutai next to him poked his head curiously, and after reading the ancient characters under the pattern, his expression became solemn for a moment. It's not a good record. Tudai felt that something was going to be a big problem. They had confirmed that the ninja sect and the Six Paths Sage really existed, and that they were the source of the current ninja world. And now there is another distinguished guest from the ninja sect, who is also the ancestor of the Hyuga clan and the Kagaya clan. The Hyuga clan and the Kagaya clan are both the top ninja clans today, so how powerful must their original ancestor clan be? At the same time, where is the other party's ethnic group hidden? The source of Hinata and Kagaya. The third Raikage became interested. He had always been interested in the two blood inheritance limits, the Byakugan and the corpse veins. Although the purpose of their coming to our Kingdom of Thunder is not yet clear, it is better to be prepared. I propose to add the chakra core of the white eyes and corpse veins to the perception barrier for targeted perception. Tamura Hao's solemn proposal was recognized by the third Raikage and Dodai. Although that kind of origin may not necessarily make them enemies in Cloud Hidden Village, they are unlikely to become friends anyway, so be more careful. Tamura Hao and Heizetsu's plan was not bad, and the Otsutsuki clan was indeed planning to come to the 5 major ninja villages to investigate. These are the strongest forces in the ninja world today. If there is a motive and the ability to steal the heretic golem, these ninja village forces will naturally bear the brunt, especially Konoha. Unfortunately, the first place they went to was Konoha, and they gained nothing. After that, they visited several ninja villages, but still found no trace of the heretic demon. Now they came to the Kingdom of Thunder, and their main target was naturally one of the 5 major ninja villages. Union Village. This village is so special. Looking at Union Village in the distance, Otsutsuki Rado, a member of the Otsutsuki clan, sighed with emotion. He liked the feeling of standing on the top of the mountain overlooking the sea of clouds. According to the information we have investigated, this village is the most aggressive and ambitious among the many ninja villages in the ninja world. It is precisely because there are too many such ambitious people in the ninja world that wars continue to break out. Otsutsuki Relic, a member of the branch family, dislikes the ninja world. It is a wrong world. Don't be so extreme. There are many reasons why wars break out, and most people have good hearts and long for peace. Otsutsuki Rachido has a different view. Although the ninja world is constantly at war, there are also many beautiful places and time periods. Otsutsuki Sherry didn't say anything, but from his expression, it can be seen that he disagreed with this view. This wrong world should have been cleared long ago. Don't disturb them, walk around the periphery and observe, and leave immediately if you don't find anything. After Otsutsuki Lido gave a warning, he flew away, followed by Otsutsuki Sherry and others. A dark head suddenly emerged from the shadows and looked at the people flying away. It was Black Zetsu. There are also disputes among the descendants of Hamura. That one seems to have great malice towards the ninja world. He had discovered and followed these 5 people for a long time, and listened to their conversations many times. It can be clearly seen that the 2 leaders have great conflicts in their ideas, and the ideas of Otsutsuki Sherry are even more extreme. This is a chess piece that can be used. With a sinister smile, Black Zetsu hid in the ground and waited for the result, while preparing to find an opportunity to obtain specific information from the moon. Otsutsuki Rito and his men didn't know they were being targeted. At this moment, they used their special chakra to approach invisibly, and used the long-distance perspective of the Byakugan to observe and find the traces of the Outer Path demon statue, just as they did before with the Konoha Rock Ninja Sand Village. They originated from their ancestor Otsutsuki Hamura, who was equal to the Six Paths Sage. The blood and chakra passed down were also different from those in the ninja world. Their existence could not be sensed by the means of the ninja world. But this time they miscalculated, because the Cloud Village used the power of the Byakugan to bless the perception barrier, and the Hyuga Byakugan was derived from the blood of Otsutsuki Hamura, so they could naturally find them from the Otsutsuki clan. The 3rd generation Raikage, who received the report, flew out of the Raikage building as soon as possible. He had already mastered the super light heavy rock technique and gained the ability to fly. At the same time, Many Anbu ninjas rushed out, and they would not let the shadow fight alone. Seeing the figures rushing over, Otsutsuki Rito was surprised, and then he seemed to understand something, his face sank. Buy-in. They have Byakugan. Otsutsuki Sherry also understood that the feeling just now was not wrong, it was the power of the Byakugan, no wonder the other party could find them. But how could this Cloud Village have Byakugan? Did they snatch it from the Hyuga clan? Who are you? The flying third Raikage stopped and looked at the 5 figures in the air opposite, alert. The chakra strength of the 5 people was very high, surpassing the level of Jonin. That clan should not be underestimated. Let's find something that was stolen, and at the same time take back the Byakugan you took from the Hyuga clan. Otsutsuki Sherry said indifferently, with a bit of arrogance. The leader Otsutsuki Rito frowned slightly, but did not deny it. Since it was discovered that the Hyuga clan had Byakugan wandering outside, it was natural to take it back. Moreover, there is a legend among their clan about Hyuga Byakugan, and he would not mind verifying it if possible. They are not good at attacking the Hyuga clan who are of the same origin, but since there are those who are stranded outside, there is no need to be polite. How arrogant. The third generation Raikage laughed, a fierce laugh. He was still hesitant before. After all, the other party and the clan behind them were too strong, and this place was too close to the village, so he didn't want to fight, but who would have thought that the other party was so arrogant and domineering, and asked them to hand over their Byakugan as soon as they opened their mouths. This is impossible not to fight. Follow me to kill. After the Anbu ninjas behind him arrived, the third generation Raikage decisively ordered to attack and kill, and he was the first to rush out, with black lightning wrapped all over his body. He has transplanted a piece of Kagaya's bones to further strengthen his bones, and his physical fitness has improved a lot. In addition, the super light and heavy rock technique reduces the weight of the body to increase speed, and the combat power is much stronger than before. It's just right to use these people to test the results of his own training. Otsutsuki Ryoto only felt the black lightning flashing in front of his eyes, and the third Raikage came to him, extremely swift and fierce. This time, the third Raikage was determined to kill, and he used all his strength at once, using his strongest Ippon Ku for the Hell Stab. The index finger wrapped in black lightning stabbed out like an indestructible spear. Although Otsutsuki Ryoto was shocked, he reacted quickly, raised his hand and formed a whirlwind shield. Although the defense of wind escape is not the strongest, it can restrain lightning escape, and it is most appropriate to use it now. Unfortunately, he misjudged the current strength of the third Raikage. With the blessing of many parties, the Ippon Ku instantly pierced the whirlwind shield, accurately hit Otsutsuki Ryoto's chest, and then pierced the entire torso. The fingers pierced out from the back, and the spine was pierced. Otsutsuki Ryoto looked at the palm pierced into his chest in disbelief, and didn't understand why the opponent's lightning escape was so powerful. You should know that I am the best among the younger generation of the main family, and my strength is not much worse than those elders, but now I was killed by a ninja in the ninja world. How is this possible? You want to block my Aikikanjutsu with just one ninjutsu? Do you think you are the first generation of Hokage? With a sneer, he threw the man down and let the Anbu ninja seal him, and the third generation of Raikage killed the other 4. His own strength is considered top-notch in the current ninja world. He has learned the super light and heavy rock technique in the corpse bone vein to strengthen his bones to further improve his strength. Although he still hasn't reached the level of the first generation of Hokage, he is very close. Even in terms of melee, he will never be worse than those 2. The only thing he lacks is that kind of super large-scale ninjutsu. Although the man's chakra just now is huge, it seems that he lacks the tempering of life and death fighting, and there is no murderous aura on his body. At first glance, it can be seen that he is a flower raised in a greenhouse and cannot withstand wind and rain. The scene of Otsutsuki Ryudo being killed instantly shocked the 4 members of Otsutsuki Sherry. Not only was he killed as a member of the main family, but also because of the strength shown by the third Raikage. Be careful, his lightning escape is abnormal. At this time, an elderly Otsutsuki member shouted, and saw that the black lightning escape on the third Raikage was abnormal. It was not an ordinary lightning escape, otherwise it would not be so easy to pierce the wind escape defense. At this time, several figures flew over. They were the other strong men in the hidden cloud village who had learned the super light and heavy rock technique. This was not over yet. Dozens of Uzumaki female ninjas came and jointly broke out the Vajra blockade. They used it as the foundation to cast a barrier to block the battlefield to prevent the battle from spreading to the village and prevent the opponent from escaping. It's the sealing technique of the ninja clan. The 4 members of Otsutsuki Sherry looked even uglier. While flying to avoid the pursuit of the third Raikage and others, they were thinking about how to break the situation, or even how to escape. There was no way. Before, they didn't take the ninjas in the ninja world seriously, especially after they casually observed several major ninja villages and didn't find them. But now they have hit a snag in this cloud-hidden village, and even the best members of the main family were killed in one encounter. This is trouble. Break out, at all costs. Looking at the body of Otsutsuki Ryoto falling to the ground, Otsutsuki Sherry was terrified and immediately ordered a breakout. If they don't break out, they will die, they will die. The other 3 hesitated for a moment, and finally gathered their chakras together to form a ball of light and threw it into the sealing barrier. As the strong men of the Otsutsuki clan, although they have not experienced life and death battles, their strength and means are not bad. The chakra ball hit the barrier, instantly blasting a hole in it. The Otsutsuki Sherry, who had been watching for a long time, rushed to the hole after avoiding a surprise attack from the third Raikage. The other 3 also wanted to rush out, but unfortunately the Uzumaki female ninjas had already reacted and controlled the diamond seal to seal the hole. The third Raikage and his men in the back also hurried over to surround and kill the 3. As for the one who had already flown out, there was nothing he could do. After flying out, the opponent directly rose and flew away quickly without any hesitation. There was no way to chase at that speed and height. Although the super light and heavy rock technique gave them the ability to fly, the speed of the flight was quite touching, far less than the speed they ran on the ground. They can all fly. Tamura Hao, who was watching the battle from a distance on the rooftop with Kagaya's virtual shadow white eyes, was very envious. After all, that was the ability to fly. The ability to fly is quite rare in the entire ninja world, especially fast flying. So far, only the Otsutsuki clan can do it. Even Uchiha Madara only gained the ability to fly after becoming 6 Paths Madara. The level of the Otsutsuki clan is very high, and flying is only the most basic ability. However, the bloodline left by Hamura is far from comparable to those of my mother's clansmen. Their flying is based on the power of the technique in their own Byakugan. The black Zetsu on the ground explained, and was very disdainful of the ability of Hamura's descendants. Originally, he was still very timid, but who would have thought that his combat experience was so poor, let alone that he had never experienced fighting. This is far inferior to the ninja world, so one person was killed in a second. But after all, he can fly, and he is not slow. Looking at the figure that had already flown far away, Tamura Hao was still envious. The Otsutsuki clan on the moon is indeed much worse than Otsutsuki Momoshiki and others. Even Otsutsuki Tonari has to open the Samsara Eye Chakra mode before he can fly. But at least he can fly. It's a good chess piece. Black Zetsu also looked at the flying Otsutsuki Sherry, and it was just right to escape. What do you think of letting Danzo know about the Otsutsuki bloodline and the Ten Tails Jinchuriki? Tamura Hao suddenly had an idea. He felt that he had to improve Danzo's ambition and strength. He couldn't let Danzo leave the stage as hastily as in the original story. You want Shimura Danzo to attract the attention of Hamura's main line. Heiju was stunned for a moment and then understood. Not Danzo-sama, but all of Konoha. Looking in the direction of the country of fire, Tamura Hao sighed. Today's Konoha is too strong, which is not in line with our interests and plans. More importantly, we cannot let the eyes of Hamura's main line fall on Kumoin village, and we have to disperse them. With our attention, Danzo-sama should be able to solve our problem. And since the Sage of Six Paths has already started operating secretly, we have to get a few more targets to distract him. There is a high probability that Indra and Asura will be reincarnated in Konoha, and it will definitely be much better if Danzo-sama operates there. Quote, as the strongest horseman under Danzo-sama, he naturally has to think a lot about Danzo-sama. Danzo-sama's ideal should not just be the position of Hokage, but should have a higher pursuit, such as unifying the ninja world and becoming the first emperor of the ninja world. For this, he would not hesitate to become the enemy of the entire ninja world. I believe that Danzo-sama will definitely have the courage. Even if Konoha is wiped out, he will definitely go on and never give up. What's the specific plan? Heiju is interested, and if it is feasible, he will naturally start to operate it. Tamura Hao took out the Sugawara sword and handed it to Heizetsu. Sister, I separated all the negative parts of the power swallowed by the little 10 tails. It is extremely dark and evil. I named it the evil of this world. I can use it as a foundation to create a dark 10 tails. Let Danzo-sama first test the waters. Of course, this dark energy alone is definitely not enough. I heard that there are legends of demons in this world, which are extremely evil existences. For example, there are many magical legends in the kingdom of ghosts. We have to find similar existences, wait for the little 10 tails to grow to a certain stage, and eat them. The essence becomes the nourishment for the little 10 tails' growth, and the negative power accumulates to form all the evil in this world. Find an opportunity to get Danzo-sama a dark 10 tails, and let him test the waters by becoming a 10 tails Jinchuriki first. Quote, Heizetsu took the Sugawara sword and quickly sensed the evil and dark negative energy in it, which was more extreme than the tail beasts. It is indeed necessary to test the waters. We can find an opportunity to let him cut off part of the outside demon to cultivate a new 10 tails. After thinking about it for a while, Heiju agreed with his brother's idea. Now, only by making the water muddier can he better plan and hide his brother's existence. And for the unlimited Tsukuyomi plan, it is really necessary to find someone to test the water, and it is best to draw out Hagoromo Hamura's backup. I know a few demons and other evil things. I will take you to swallow them when the little 10 tails grows enough. He knows a lot about this stuff, after all, it has survived for thousands of years. What you are looking for is more. This world had its own cultivation system before my sister brought chakra. For example, the 3 legendary holy places are said to have been passed down for thousands of years. There must have been cultivation civilizations and powerful beings in the past. Please look for ancient relics. Whether they are remnants of their cultivation methods or treasures, I need them all. The more the better. Quote, this world hides many secrets, such as Lulin's dragon vein that can take people through time, the Greer vein that contains pure life force, and so on. Lulin's dragon vein is easy to find. After all, Lulin itself exists and is fixed. He just waits for himself to be able to go there and swallow the dragon vein silently. But I really don't know where the Greer mine is, and I have to let Heiju search for it. I'll keep an eye out. Black Zetsu accepted the matter. As long as it could strengthen his mother and brother, he would not hesitate, and quickly turned the topic back to Shimura Danzo. Not everyone can carry the 10 tails Jinchuriki, especially the dark 10 tails you are planning. Danzo Shimura does not have the bloodline passed down by Hagoromo Hamura. To raise a difficult point, the 10 tails Jinchuriki is not easy to carry, even if it is a semi-finished parallel import. In the catalog of Konoha's forbidden arts you brought last time, there is a forbidden technique called Kiaro. It can integrate other people's bodies into the body and gain the other's power. However, it has a fatal flaw, which is that it is repulsive and fusion-like. The more, the greater the rejection. Ordinary blood successors are not related to each other, so naturally they cannot fuse, and the repulsion will be very high. However, the bloodlines of Hamura and Hagoromo are both derived from their sisters, and they are from the same source. They must be combined to achieve Kiaro's goal. Can be effective. We have to find more targets for Danzo-sama and try to complete the bloodline. Quote, Tamura Hao has already had ideas in this regard. The Naruto world and the reincarnation eyes of his previous life followed this path, but it was not thorough enough. He only focused on chakra attributes and did not pay much attention to Otsutsuki's bloodline. His idea was just the opposite. With Otsutsuki bloodline as the main bloodline, the compatibility would be higher. And in this way, there is no need to perform blood blending cloning, which is much simpler. Black Zetsu also brought a catalog of Konoha's forbidden arts last time. Although it was only a simple catalog, it was enough to give him a general understanding of Konoha's forbidden arts. As for Konoha's Book of Sealings, it's really hard to get. There is a seal on it, and it was burned by Uzumaki Mito himself. It can't be unlocked and read by just getting it. As for the time when he talked about Uzumaki Naruto in the future, he suspected that Sarutobi Hiruzen deliberately cheated him. It was even possible that there was only one multi-shadow clone technique that was most suitable for Uzumaki Naruto, and it was not the real sealed book. Then there are choices: Senju, Uchiha, Uzumaki, Hinata, Hamura's main line of the moon, Kagaya, Hinata. In addition there are some branches: the Golden Horn and Silver Horn line, Blood Dragon Eye, Red Eye. Heiju smiled sinisterly. This was indeed a path. Shimura Danzo is undoubtedly a very ambitious person. As long as he is shown the way, he will definitely go there at all costs. When selecting people, you have to look for those with dark temperaments, so that they can be more compatible with the dark chakra. I believe Danzo-sama can definitely handle it. Tamura Hao has absolute confidence in Danzo-sama. As the first-generation Kage in the Naruto world, there is no blame that Danzo-sama cannot bear. Even after his death and in the Boruto period, he is still taking the blame without complaint, and he can even be involved in it. On the level of Kagaya space, it would be no exaggeration to say that he is the #1 model worker in the ninja world. This posture and words made Heiju feel weird, and he even realized that he didn't seem to be that dark, at least his heart wasn't as dark as his younger brothers. You, Danzo-sama, are shouting more and more sincerely. My younger brother is truly worthy of being trained by Shimura Danzo. If you want to deceive others, the first step is to deceive yourself. As Tamura Hao spoke, he couldn't help but think of the future excellent multifaceted spy Yakushi Kabuto, who became the best spy by relying on self-hypnosis and infiltrated all forces. But in the end, I failed to control myself, and I lost myself, especially after following Orochimaru. Orochimaru is the master of deception in the world of Naruto, second only to Sarutobi Hiruzen. There are countless people who are willing to die for him, and they are even jealous of him. How can people in the ninja world be so strong? Not to mention Tamura Hao's loyalty to Danzo-sama. The Otsutsuki relic on the other side flew hundreds of kilometers in one breath without sacrificing chakra, and just stopped on the top of a mountain. He was very frightened, angry and horrified. He used to not take the fools in the ninja world seriously, but who would have thought that he would suffer a big loss in the first fight and even almost die? He shouldn't be like this, and the Otsutsuki clan shouldn't suffer such humiliation. Byakugan, you must get Hinata's pure Byakugan. After a while, Otsutsuki relic finally calmed down a little and thought of a legend in the clan. According to that legend, although the Otsutsuki clan inherited the purest bloodline from their ancestors, the Byakugan they possessed was not pure enough. The purest Byakugan belongs to the Hyuga clan. If you can obtain the pure Byakugan, you can complete the bloodline of your ancestors and gain more power. He needs strength, stronger strength, so that he can come back and avenge his shame. Furthermore, the Zong family he was guarding died in a fight, and he would not be able to avoid punishment if he went back. The lightest case would be to be imprisoned for the rest of his life. That was not what he wanted. Thinking of this, Otsutsuki relic did not waste any time, recovered some chakra and headed towards Konoha. The reason why I no longer fly is because that technique consumes too much energy, and it is more cost-effective to use my legs to travel. In this way, with the help of Byakugan's supervision and the occasional flying technique, Otsutsuki relic left the Kingdom of Thunder safely, entered the Kingdom of Fire again, and came all the way to the outside of Konoha. Without getting closer, he found an ordinary farmer in a small village to control his mental consciousness, and asked him to go to Konoha with a token, and then waited quietly in the Valley of the End. I want to have this power too. Standing on top of Uchiha Madara's stone statue and looking at the first Hokage opposite, the Otsutsuki relic was even more persistent. According to the information he got after coming down, this valley was created by the first Hokage. The power of turning a piece of flat land into a valley is really unbelievable, and I am afraid it is close to the ancestors. If we had this level of power, it would not be difficult to destroy the Union Village. There is no need for those pedantic clan members to exist anymore. Even Leto was killed by people from the ninja world, which proved that they had a wrong understanding of the will of their ancestors. Only by destroying this wrong ninja world and then reshaping a perfect world as the will of the ancestors. The more I think about it, the more determined I am that this wrong world must be corrected. He was not kept waiting long. As the sun was setting, Hinata Zongjung and 3 branch ninjas rushed to the appointment and jumped to the stone statue between the Senju Hashira. Why did you suddenly come to the ninja world? After turning on the Byakugan and seeing the chakra in the other person's body and the special characteristics of the Byakugan, Hinata Munemasa confirmed his identity, but he didn't understand why the other party came suddenly. Even though it was the first time for him to see someone of this lineage, he had only heard about it from his father before. You don't have to know. Otsutsuki relic said something cold and arrogant, and that gesture made Hinata Munemasa immediately realize that something was wrong. But before he could react, the Otsutsuki relic suddenly appeared in front of him, and a palm pierced his heart. If he hadn't used chakra to push the heart away in time, it would have been penetrated through the heart. Not killing Hyuga Munemasa with one blow made Otsutsuki relic's face darken, but without stopping, his left hand dug out Hinata Munemasa's eyes like lightning. At this time, the 3 members of the branch who came to protect him just realized and hurriedly took action. One of them was the fastest, and with a knife-like stroke, he cut off the entire arm where the Otsutsuki relic had penetrated Hinata Munemasa's heart. Court death. The Otsutsuki relic was in pain and even more angry. But before they could take action, 2 members of the branch family attacked desperately, and the man picked up Hinata Munemasa and ran towards the village quickly. This person was extremely fast. Even if Otsutsuki Tonari wanted to pursue him, it would be too late, let alone the 2 people desperately trying to stop him. It would be very difficult for him to cope with the loss of an arm. However, what few people didn't realize was that the eyes of the Hyuga branch ninja who escaped with Hinata Munemasa in his arms were not white. There was a black spot in the pupil, as black Zetsu. Yes, this person has been quietly integrated into the control of Heiju, and he has been following this person. Even when he was in Hidden Cloud Village, he had time to integrate into the brain of Otsutsuki's corpse, and learned a lot of information from his brain, and also learned the meaning of Hinata's white eyes to those people on the moon. Just like the fusion of the power of Senju and Uchiha can make them stronger, the fusion of the power of the moon and the Hyuga clan can also transform. Not to mention that there is a giant reincarnation eye on the moon that maintains the entire ecological environment. The core of it is Hamura's reincarnation eye. With the inner strength as a guide, it is enough for the big tube wood relic to obtain the reincarnation eye. Likewise, the Hyuga clan's giant reincarnated eye also has to plan. The Hyuga Byakugan is very important to the Otsutsuki relic, and similarly, his arm is also very important to the Hyuga clan. Running quickly with Hinata Munemasa in his arms, overloaded with refined chakra, he performed the teleportation technique one after another, and finally arrived in Konoha. When the ninja on duty at the village entrance saw that the Hyuga clan leader had returned and was seriously injured, he immediately let him go and asked someone to report to the Hokage building. After sending Hyuga Somasa back to the Hyuga tribe, Black Zetsu controlled the branch ninja to spit out a mouthful of blood. Chizetsu fell to the ground, and even his soul and the caged bird seal were sealed by him. However, the Hyuga family didn't pay much attention to this. They were all concerned about the injury of the clan leader. Several elders came to visit overnight. Unfortunately, they were all sent away by the seriously injured Hyuga Munemasa, and even the people sent by the Hokage were sent away. In the end, only the eldest son Hyuga Hiyashi was left by his side. Hiyashi, I can't do it anymore. From now on, you are the clan leader of the Hyuga clan. The pale-faced Hyuga Munemasa entrusted the position of clan leader to his eldest son. He was seriously injured this time. Although he used chakra to push his heart to avoid the opponent's palm piercing, he did not avoid it completely. He was scratched by the chakra carried on his palm and even injured his spine. In addition to such a long-distance bumpy ride, now it is all supported by chakra. Dad, who hurt you? Hyuga Hiyashi's eyes were red, and he was very angry at the thief who injured his father like this, and he wanted to grind him to ashes. Don't talk, let me talk, you must remember every word I say next. After taking a breath, Hyuga Munemasa said solemnly, our Hyuga clan and Kagaya clan are not only close relatives but also of the same origin. In addition, there is a main branch. They also have Byakugan, but their Byakugan is not as good as ours, and our bodies and chakra are not as good as theirs. This time, the person over there took my Byakugan and probably wanted to do something. Fortunately, we also took one of his arms this time. Later, you will transplant this arm to yourself, and then find a strong Kagaya arm transplant, which should help you further develop your Byakugan. Our Hyuga clan also has a secret treasure left by our ancestors, which is also the source of the caged bird curse seal. It contains extremely terrifying power, comparable to the tailed beast. You go to the first generation's wife and find a way to get the tailed beast sealing technique from her, and seal that secret treasure into your body like a tailed beast. Hyuga Tsumasa told his son the secret and future path passed down by their clan leader. This was what he came up with on the way back. If successful, his son would gain power beyond the first generation of Hokage. Only in this way can the Hyuga clan be protected and prevented from being further harmed by that lineage, otherwise the other party's next target may be his son. At the same time, Black Zetsu in a shadow in the room smiled with satisfaction. This was the idea he secretly implanted on the way back with Hyuga Tsumasa. If Hyuga Tsumasa's Byakugan was still there, it would naturally be difficult to deal with, but his Byakugan had been taken away by the Otsutsuki relic, so he naturally could not detect his own methods. This is the mystery of chakra. Yuya used chakra to penetrate everyone's thoughts back then, and naturally he could also influence other people's spiritual consciousness through chakra, which is also the essence of illusion. In this way, the many backhands left by Hamura can be brought out. Although it will make things very troublesome, the means and enemies that are exposed are always much easier to deal with than those hidden in the dark. Seeing that the scenes here were set, Black Zetsu came to the root base, checked the root's recent intelligence, and soon got some results. Are you searching for the outflowing members of the Uzumaki clan in preparation for the new generation of Nine Tails Jinchuriki? Black Zetsu had some guesses. Konoha needed a new Nine Tails Jinchuriki. The strategy of the Whirlpool country had failed, but it was not the only country in the world that had members of the Uzumaki clan. The Uzumaki clan itself had members who had married out. If you look for them carefully, you can still find some. You can start with the Uzumaki clan. With a decision in mind, Black Zetsu merged into the ground and quickly sneaked towards the battlefront between Konoha and the Sand Village, and found the secret base of Shimura Danzo and Orochimaru. They have all started research on Hashirama cells and Sharingan. After turning around the base for a few times, Black Zetsu saw that the main research here was on Hashirama cells and Sharingan, and even research on the fusion of the two. He simply glanced at these and ignored them, and followed the induction to the place where the Uzumaki clan members were imprisoned. There were not many people inside, only 5, and 2 of them had hair that was not pure red, obviously their blood was not pure. After taking a look, Black Zetsu's eyes quickly fell on a pair of boys and girls, especially after sensing the hatred mixed with fear in the boy, he smiled. "It's you." Without delay, after waiting for the boy to fall asleep tiredly, Black Zetsu quietly merged into his body from the ground, adding some memory fragments to him with chakra as the medium. After several days, when the other 3 were taken away for experiments and did not come back, the 2 boys and girls finally couldn't help it, especially the boy. "Bang bang. Where are the people? Come here, I want to see your superior, I have important information to buy our lives." The boy desperately slapped the iron door. He knew that if he didn't fight again, he would be taken away like those tribesmen, and his end would definitely not be good. "What information do you have?" A root ninja flashed and appeared, and his words were very cold and ruthless, making the boy and the girl shiver. "Very important information, more important than our lives, is a big secret of our Uzumaki clan, about the legendary ninja sect." Resisting his fear, the boy insisted on meeting the superior here. Only by meeting the superior here can he have a chance to survive. As for whether the secret can save his life, it depends on God's will, at least he has to try. "Wait." Seeing the boy's seriousness, the root ninja said something and turned away. Not long after, he came back to open the iron door and took the boy away, leaving only the helpless girl crying in the cell. "Tell me the secret you know." Half of his body was wrapped in bandages. Shimura Danzo looked at the red-haired boy who was brought in. The secret of the Uzumaki clan is still worth looking forward to, not to mention the legendary ninja sect. "I want to join the adults and become their tool." Swallowing his saliva, the boy knelt on one knee. What he needs to do most now is to save his life, and everything is based on saving his life. He didn't have a stupid request to let him go, that was unrealistic, and the only way to survive now was to become the other party's person. "As long as the secret you tell is valuable, I will give you a chance to become a tool." Shimura Danzo's expression did not change at all, but he did need tools. The route lost too many people, he needed to add fresh blood, especially talented ones. The vortex bloodline in the boy is a good talent. After taking a breath, the boy recalled and said, "That is a legend I heard when I was in the village. It is said that our Uzumaki clan and Senju Uchiha, as well as the Hyuga and Kagaya clans all originated from the ninja clan, and have the same ancestor, from the legendary Six Paths Sage. I also heard that the Six Paths Sage once defeated and sealed a world-destroying monster that was bigger than a mountain, saved the world, and finally dispersed his own power to establish the ninja clan, and finally passed it down to the present." Shimura Danzo was listening, and he became more and more serious the more he listened. Although the boy was only talking about a myth, it was the myth of the Uzumaki clan, which was very unusual. And he himself also mastered a lot of secrets, many of which could match the myths and legends the boy said. Analyzing from his own perspective as a ninja, he soon came up with some guesses. So that's how it is. Those bloodline ninjas with non-chakra attributes are derived from the Six Paths Sage, and that is the strongest power in the ninja world. The direction of Orochimaru's experiments during this period is also correct. The power of Senju and Uchiha can indeed be integrated, but compared to the power of the first-generation cells, those three Magatama Sharingan are too inferior. But the bloodline inherited by the Six Paths Sage is not just Senju and Uchiha, there are more. And the tailed beasts, it is said that the tailed beasts appeared at the same time as the Six Paths Sage. Is it also related to the Six Paths Sage? Wait, the legend this child said is that the Six Paths Sage sealed the world-destroying monster, or an existence bigger than a mountain. Is it a tailed beast stronger than the 9 tails, or? Shimura Danzo thought a lot at once, and his heart couldn't help but get more excited. If these legends are true, he will have a way to become stronger. It's not enough to simply transplant the first-generation cells and Sharingan. How can we gather all the bloodlines of the sage ninjas in one body? Quote, "The greed for power made Shimura Danzo think about how to take all the power for himself. Simple surgical transplantation is far from enough. After thinking for a long time, he finally had an idea. To be more precise, he thought of a technique, a forbidden technique that was not completed and had fatal flaws. That technique can devour others and obtain the other party's bloodline limit, but it conflicts with itself. The more it devours, the stronger the conflict will be, and eventually it will explode and die. But what if the blood of the devoured individuals has the same source?" Quote, the more he thought about it, the more excited he became. Shimura Danzo seemed to have seen a shortcut to surpass the first-generation teacher. The first-generation teacher was invincible in the ninja world just by exerting the power of the Senju clan to the extreme, and Uchiha Madara was the same. If he gathered the power of those sage ninjas in one body, he would definitely surpass the first-generation Hokage and Uchiha Madara, and even obtain power comparable to the Six Paths Sage. Tamura Hao didn't know what his eldest nephew Zetsu had done. He was waiting for the research results of the research department on the 4 corpses. Yes, it's a corpse. There was no way to catch them alive. In the end, when the 3 people saw that they could not escape, they committed suicide decisively. Their brains were destroyed by their chakra, making it impossible to detect any useful information and could only be used as research material. Fortunately, the leader died too suddenly and did not destroy his own brain tissue. Later, he obtained some information from it. Although it was not much, it was enough to know the origin of the other party. There are people living on the moon. In the Reikage building, Tudai felt incredible about the information he received. The other party actually lived on the moon, and there seemed to be a lot of them. Can't we get more information? Looking at the brief information, the third Reikage frowned. There is too little information. We don't have very good means in this regard. The Anbu ninja in charge of intelligence interrogation reluctantly replied that if it were a living person, he could also use illusions to explore the opponent's memory to obtain information. For this reason, a pair of twin brothers under his command specially transplanted the Sharingan. But it's only for living people. The other party is already dead, so illusions can't be used on dead people. It is said that the Yamanaka clan in Konoha can obtain information from the brains of dead people. Unfortunately, their hidden cloud village does not have similar secret techniques. It has taken a lot of effort to obtain this information. What about the research on corpse blood inheritance? The third Raikage continued to ask. The body of a ninja itself is the greatest treasure, especially one with extraordinary blood. There are signs of fusion between their chakra and body flesh and Hinata's Byakugan and Keigaya's corpse vein power, but the repulsion is even greater. Corpses alone are not enough to successfully fuse. Live experiments must be conducted. Another Anbu ninja in charge of the matter reported that what could be studied from corpses alone was very limited, and experiments on living subjects had to be carried out. How is the situation on the other side of Kurigakure village? The third Raikage thought for a moment and looked at Tudai. He also agreed to conduct in vivo experiments. Currently, only the Keigaya clan can conduct this in vivo experiments. The Hyuga clan has a limited number of clan members, and the branch family has the caged bird curse seal, so there is no way to recruit them. The only thing they can plan is the Keigaya clan of Kurigakure village, but it seems that the process is speeding up now. It's almost the same. The third Mizukage seems to have created two-tailed beast Jinchuriki, and the ninja's patience has reached its limit. It's just that it's difficult to get the specific time of their decisive battle, and it's even more difficult to rescue those ninja children. Quote. Tutai replied that they didn't need to do anything in this regard, they just needed to wait quietly. They had already arranged everything in the last war in the country of Whirlpool. Although they didn't do much, they were key points, which completely broke the balance within Kurigakure village and further intensified the conflict between the two sides. Especially those two-tailed beast sealing techniques. Once the third Mizukage's side has two-tailed beast Jinchuriki, it will completely suppress the ninja side. Those ninjas will definitely die if they don't fight. But this does not mean that the matter is over. It is a ninja village after all. Even if a civil war breaks out internally, it will be very difficult for the ninjas of Union Village to lurk in. Even if one of them is not good enough, the two parties will have to unite and turn against them, the Kumo ninjas. It's a pity that I am the only one who can achieve the art of carrying heaven's gift. The third Raikage also had a headache because of this. The heavenly sending technique was undoubtedly the best means of assault, as it could land directly inside Kurigakure village. But only he can do it. Although his strength has improved a lot, he is not arrogant enough to challenge a great ninja village by himself. Not to mention that the goal of this mission is to recruit people, the more the better, it is best to pack up and take away all the underage ninjas. This cannot be done by oneself. Lord Tutai, how many people can the amber pure bottle and red gourd hold? Tamura Hao suddenly asked. It's not easy for people to carry the art of heaven's gift, but those six-path ninja tools can definitely do it. The amber purifying bottle was even transported during the fourth battle. Great idea. Tutai's eyes immediately lit up. Why hadn't he thought of this before? Although the amber bottle and red gourd are powerful, they are more about sealing power. At least the seal will not cause harm in a short period of time. With the size of the two, they can definitely seal many people in. If the sandame is transported there and released, everything will be perfect. It can even be applied to other battlefields. You have a brilliant mind. The third Raikage laughed loudly and was even more satisfied with this disciple. He had never thought of such an application before. Okay, go ahead and pick one of the 4 corpses and swallow it with shark's muscle. Remember to write a report and send it if you have any results. He waved his hand to indicate that he could leave. He had already seen that this boy was greedy for the corpses of the 4 Otsutsuki people. Clear. Tamura Hao laughed happily. He had already thought about the target to devour, and it must be the one who took the lead. Although he was stabbed to death first, it does not mean that he is weak, but he did not expect that the third-generation Raikage would be so powerful. To put it bluntly, they lack experience in life and death battles. Simply sparring and fighting cannot be considered actual combat experience. This aspect is the shortcoming of Moon Otsutsuki. In such a small place, and they are all of the same race, there is no way to go through the training of life and death fighting. Sandame is the mysterious force we investigated earlier, the ethnic group on the moon. Tutai suddenly came up with an idea. After discovering that a mysterious force was involved in the research department, he secretly conducted an investigation, but unfortunately he didn't gain much. And now there is another Otsutsuki clan living on the moon. I hope so. The third Raikage hoped that this guess was correct, otherwise there would be 2 super powerful forces that would be more difficult to deal with. Standing in front of the window and looking at the whole village, he thought for a while and then gave the order in a deep voice. Gradually reduce the intensity of the battle on the front line, focus on confronting and containing the ninja forces of Konoha, and speed up the process of the split-tailed beast Jinchuriki plan. We need more high-end combat power to protect the village. In addition, let the Uzumaki ninja deploy larger perception barriers and defense barriers, as well as barriers that can restrict flight. Quote, this battle exposed many of their shortcomings, especially in air combat. They have the ability to fly, and they are more flexible and faster than their anti-gravity flight. Fighting in the air is too disadvantageous. They have to be restrained. The main battlefield of their ninjas is the ground, and they have to restrain the opponent on the ground. Clear. Tudai took the order, knowing that the Otsutsuki clan would definitely take revenge. The enemies coming next time would be more and stronger, and they must be prepared. Increase research on chakra cannons, and it would be best to have the ability to explode the moon with one blow. The third Raikage talked about the research of chakra cannon. It used to be just to deal with tailed beasts in other ninja villages, but now it has a bigger goal. Since the moon is a threat, destroy it. It's not easy to speed up that research. Tutai replied helplessly, that research is extremely difficult and cannot be accelerated by increasing investment. Then we will further improve the firearms plan and set a higher goal. We will face many enemies in the future, and we must ensure absolute strength. The third Raikage did not force the order, but instead talked about the firearms plan. In the past, the targets were only a few major ninja villages, but now they have discovered one mysterious force after another, which will be an obstacle to their unification, and they must have means to target them. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.